You didn't forget this time, dude. You didn't.
The stream is live.
What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 189. I'm your host, Anthony Trapney. As always, joined by at least one resident homie. I got Casey Howard with me right now. What up, dude?
Hello.
We got possible Joel appearance soon. But yeah, dude, we're here another Thursday night, and we are joined by the dudes in Malignancy minus Danny. We might see Danny later, but he's already been on the show. Go back to his episode if you want to check it out. But we got Alex, Ron, and Mike, the rest of the Malignancy crew.
We got most Malignancy.
Totally, dude. And what up, guys?
Hey,
How are you?
That's
Rocket.
Right on, man. And so happy to have you guys on and have Alex back on. We were just saying in the runnings for
It's about time.
top returning guest.
Yeah, right.
He's been gone so long, we just needed him back, dude.
I guess I'll be on in another 2 months again in some capacity. I don't know.
Yeah, keep joining all those bands, dude, and we'll keep getting the bands on.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. All right, let's do some plugs real quick. BattleForgeCoffee.com comes up top every single show. It's our friends in Deeds of Flesh, our brothers, our family. And that's a company they've been pushing for a while. It's a great company, good quality coffee, cool merch. Yeah, dude. It's definitely good shit. Go buy it and say Cali Death Podcast sent you. We don't get any kickback. Just let them know that it's coming from our show. GeneratorRehearsalStudios.com, Oceanside, California. You're down there, anywhere near there. You got a place to jam right there. Our homie Ben runs that place. Casey's down there. Joseph is in and out of there. A bunch of people you might run into. Go get creative over there. And then what's next? Do we say nope? Battleforge.
Yeah,
Do we even have a next?
second.
I don't know. Oh, no, don't buy a shirt because
Don't buy a shirt from us right now because we can't send it to you.
Go to Twitch. We're twitching out. I don't know.
Yeah. Live on Twitch and YouTube every Thursday night. You know, if you want to pop in, get in the chat and interact. We got a cool community of chatters over here too. I'm gonna be. Yeah, dude, I can't even see, but Jedi grind up in there, dude. What up, Murray? Haven't seen you in a while, dude. Love you, brother. Speaking of Murray, and Severed Savior is gonna be playing Texas Domination Festival and the last weekend.
Right?
Yeah, it's coming up in last weekend of September.
That's sick.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday of that week. I think it's the 27th, 20th, 29th. Yeah, we're playing the third day. Bunch of sick bands, and it's Miguel's first endeavor in Texas, coming over from Chicago, doing the Chicago Domination Fest for several years, and it's cool that we get to go headline one of those days, dude, and play some Severed Savior music. That's some shit that I love to play, so it'll be fun out there. I want to be there all 3 days. That was actually a picture of me recording Servile for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I want to be out there all 3 days. Obviously, we're gonna have to rehearse and shit. We'll be all practicing outside of that fest until a few days before we play, dude.
Is it gonna be hot out there?
Probably. It's Texas actually it's later in the year, so
It'll still probably be pretty hot. I mean, I've been in Texas in like the beginning of October, and it's still like almost 100 degrees. So
Always hot.
yeah,
The club is hot.
It's gonna be brutal. Is that
AC
gonna be an
breaks all the
inside show
time.
or an outside show?
It's horrible.
So yeah, dude, but it's still gonna be cool. I'm gonna.
That's death metal.
Is
It'll be
it
sweaty
Yep.
and grungy and shitty?
is it
Yeah.
inside or outside stage?
I'm pretty sure it's inside. I think it's a
Yeah,
theater.
good. Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
theater
is
that
it
we're doing.
at the Haltom Theater?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never been there, but I saw all the videos of that Gordon, the Heart of Texas, that festival, and it looked like it was a cool venue. And it's
Nice, dude.
inside, so I would much
That's
rather
great.
be inside in Texas than outside.
Right. No, it'll be cool, dude. I've been, you know.
Oh, the scene is going to show up. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Especially with
the
you guys
announcement.
playing again,
I was gonna say then it was very good feeling to see all the different, comments of people who were saying they were flying from different countries because of us announcing. And it was a cool feeling to be a defunct band since 2012 and our, coming back, our reunion show. People are coming from Japan, from Greece, all these crazy
Damn.
places. I'm just like, wow, dude, that's pretty rad to literally make that decision to go. The one from Japan said that was going to be his first time leaving the country too, and I'm like, wow,
wow.
dude. Something that I've been a part of made this dude want to finally leave his country for the first time
and go basically halfway around the world.
Yeah, so now I'm like,
Now, you better not
practicing.
mess up, dude.
I know I'm practicing, dude. I'm doing severed songs every day right now. I'm not doing nearly as many as we're gonna be doing as a set, but practicing as much as I can, dude.
Do you
Getting
growl
that voice
while
back.
you're fixing cars?
I growl on the way to work, dude. In the morning's the best time for me, actually. I don't know
coffee.
why, but
Flip.
maybe getting older made the mornings better. I wish I could play in the morning now.
No, it's your coffee sponsor. That's what did it.
That's what it is,
yeah.
dude. This Battle Forge coffee
Forge.
giving me the
Yeah.
energy
Makes
and
sense.
coating the throat enough at just a perfect level to where I can belt it out on the way to
Yeah.
work.
The
Exactly.
real
think about-
secret to getting the best vocals.
I think about what I look like when I'm driving to work, and all the people who are just woken up as well, going to their shitty jobs, and they see this guy fucking at stoplights doing fucking fecal-philiac.
It probably helps you wake up too. Like, you're just
Oh, it
not
definitely
constantly
does.
driving,
It definitely
You're not
does.
coffee at that point.
There's no way I would be able to roll back into bed if I got up and did a few songs,
Yeah, instead of your morning stretches, do your morning gutturals.
Totally,
It'd
dude.
be awesome to pull up to the stoplight and just see Anthony like growling like in his car. Like,
That's what I'm doing. But sitting down and growling is weird, I feel that my body is actually a part of why my voice sounds the way it does. So sitting position is a different thing for me. I feel like I need my taint straight.
It's great.
All right, enough about me and this show. But yeah, come out to Texas and see a Severed Savior play and a bunch of other sick bands that have been on this show too. So yeah,
Texas is kind of large though. So where in Texas?
it's like 3 hours from Austin. I don't know what the fucking city is.
Yes, I think it's Haltom, Texas. I think. And
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so Haltom, Texas.
I'm in
just-
San Antonio right now. I don't know where Haltom
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah, dude.
Haltom.
There's
I
a
don't
good
either,
burger
so-
joint down the street from the club, and there's a New York so-called pizza joint up the street. But the pizza joint, us New Yorkers will never go there. But
Have you ever
I will
gone?
you guys-
Have you ever gone to a
it's pretty
different
good.
state, Ron? Random question. You just made me want to ask you this. Have you ever been to a different state and you're like, this is true New York pizza?
No, but I've been to states where they have good pizza. But
Yeah,
it's never New York pizza because our water mineral content coming from the Catskills and from the Hudson Valley, it comes through St. Lawrence from Canada down and through all our mountain ranges. It's the mineral content really adds to the making our dough. That's just what's up.
So that's where it's at. Is true
It's all
New York
water.
pizza is in the
Oh,
dough.
Oh, hell
Well, don't some people even have water from New York shipped to them so that they can try to make as close to New York pizza as they
Yes.
possibly can? And
Yeah,
have you ever
it
had
never works.
that pizza? It never
I
works.
don't know.
It never worked.
Work.
There's a Brooklyn bagel, whatever, Brooklyn water bagel or whatever that I used to go to in LA all the time, where they'd ship the water from Brooklyn to try to make the bagels the right way, and no,
Yeah.
didn't work.
I noticed from being from the Bay Area that sourdough is nowhere near what it is in the Bay Area versus outside the Bay Area. I don't know why.
Yep.
There's right down the street. I could walk to go get the best sourdough you ever fucking tasted, fresh every single day, $5 a loaf. They only do cash, and you just go in there with a $5 bill. You got a big ass baguette, and dude, it is the sickest sourdough you've ever tasted.
Mm.
And I don't know why.
Right.
I don't know what it is about the fact that San Francisco and adjacent areas can do sourdough, but it's hard to
It's
find it
water.
elsewhere.
It's probably the
Could
water.
be. I think there's a lot of humidity involved. I walked through a sourdough factory, the same one that I'm talking about, and it's harder to breathe. You almost feel like you're in a steam room. You ever been in a steam room and tried to breathe? You got to breathe slow because your lungs aren't ready for that much moisture. I don't know. Here we are already in the weeds about bread and crust of pizza and
Conversation hasn't even started yet.
no, dude. Well, actually, I already did with that. But Malignancy, where do you guys want them, the listeners and watchers, to go for all things Malignancy? Anybody?
That's you, Ron.
Ron,
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know where.
So we got a lot coming up. Unfortunately, let's just mention this first. Our live drummer Alex Cohen, man, we all wish him the best. He's going through some stuff with his head now. He's got to get taken care of, and it's come public. He's got to get a tumor removed, and it's non-malignant, which is so grateful. But it
Nice.
has some extra things going on, so we wish him the best in this, and hope that his drumming ability, which I think will stay 100% through this whole process, and he'll get by like Superman. So I just tell everybody this: wish him 100%. He is the Superman out there. He's teaching all these young guys, and we wish him the best. That's how I want to start the conversation about.
No doubt,
this.
dude. Sending
what I'm
love
saying?
and positivity, dude.
Yeah, and that's where we want to go with this, and then so on. We want to thank Maryland Death Fest for putting us on this show August 17th, man. Big show. Dismember, doing the iconic album, Ever Flowing Stream, and then Vomitory, Morpheus Descends.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. I like that venue too. The Monarch is
on the gang. Us what? I mean, so this is a big show, and we're so happy to be on it, and
That's sick.
a lot of these shows moving forward. It's all about the new album. We worked so hard in this new album before COVID and after COVID. I recorded it twice myself. Really being drawn to the expertise to our engineer and mixer and master Lassie Lemert. I might saying it wrong, but that's on Mike Heller's recommendation. He's like, Ron, we got to go with this guy. As much as everybody else is amazing in the scene, we really wanted to go with him, and I can't believe how good my guitar sound came out, and he made me tones, and our tones you could buy on STL Tone Hub. It's the Lassie Lemert edition. It's just STL tonality. It has Malignancy Tone A and Tone B on it. That just blows me away that my sound is so sick on this album, and it came out mint, and that it was able to be like mixed in where you hear Jacob's bass, you hear Mike's amazing drum production, and Danny's vocals stand out, which never really happens as a whole. Everybody's albums in the past come out good for one of the guys in the band, but never for everybody, you know. So I think this is an everybody album. So
Mhm.
I'm really happy about it, and I'm happy that everybody is absorbing it and saying that it hurts their brain and that
Yeah.
it disturbs them, and that's what that. I mean, was that our intention? Maybe. My intention was to have some good music to listen to, so they could have futuristic death metal and not listen to like, you know, everything else, something
Mhm.
else. It's just that's all I want to say. We love everything, but this is something else, like the other. It's like the 7 Up of death metal. It's like the uncold.
You got to put that on the next shirt.
The
No, I
7 Up
get
of
it,
death metal.
dude.
I
I
love it.
get it.
Yeah.
And
Someone else talk. Someone else.
Oh,
The way-
so
the-
so so Ron,
Go for
where does somebody go for Malignancy merch online? I think
Okay,
that
we
was
can
the
go to
question.
the malignancy.bandcamp.com.
There
Right
you
now
go.
has all our goodies, and then we also have the oh my god, I'm having the brain fart. The one that everybody else has.
The big
Uh,
cartel.
Big
The
Cartel.
Indie merch.
Not-
indie merch.
indie merch. And we have the indie merch. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
also go to willowtiprecords.com. Right now they have everything. Buy from them. It's
Nice.
all good. It's
Yeah.
all good. 'Cause
And then
everybody's running
socials.
out of everything. We're doing good, so keep
Yeah.
it up.
Instagram stay malignant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is why we needed Danny.
Yeah,
He
And
I know
then-
he knows
Danny
the
has
websites.
some shirts too because he was selling a bunch of them at the last show. So I think you could also just message Danny and he'd be able to send them to you.
Well, maybe we
Everybody
might
give
see
Danny
an
his
appearance
email.
from Danny later on, and we can grill him for it as soon as he walks in.
Yeah, right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because we got new shorts available. We got a lot of nice stuff going. We got some. We got. Oh, I think we only have one pint glass left. We have nice etched pint glasses, but
Sweet.
we
Nice.
got plenty of LPs in stock, all different colors, and we got some cassettes. But you could also get them Bandcamp and Malignancy Bandcamp, Wilted Bandcamp. It's all going to the good fund. It all goes
Right
to the
on.
right place.
So, tell me what it's like, Ron, for being in the band since what, 95?
Yeah. Yeah, but like 94, 95 is pretty much when I joined. I gotta tell you, it's been a great journey. I never thought I'd play death metal in my whole life.
And we'll get to that, but I was going to just finish with being in the band since 95 and having this brand new album after everything that you did and having those positive thoughts about your tracks and how the album sounds like. That's got to be a killer feeling, dude, to be involved in a project since that time, and you still now in your current life are getting a charge from it, you know?
Oh, dude, I can't believe it. I'm 51 years old, man, and I'm fucking loving that. I have new material out because at this point, like us, Immolation, Cannibal, this Obituary, man, the boys are doing it. They're fucking doing it, man. And this is what's up, man. It's I'm part of those guys, you know,
Right.
and these young bucks, we're bringing them with us, man. I'm part of the old shit, and damn, we keep putting out shit, and like
Yeah.
I'm looking at Mick Jagger fucking killing it in fucking City Field, and I'm like, holy shit, that's why I'm going. I'm gonna keep going until I fucking my legs are fall off.
Yeah, Ronnie's gonna be the big
dude.
Jagger of death metal.
Fuck yeah, man.
No, that's a killer feeling,
what's up.
man. To not only, you know, be relevant, you're still setting the bar higher in, you know, what is considered the tech death scene. You know, now it's branched out so many different ways, but the technical death metal that I grew up listening to,
Yeah.
I think that Malignancy keeps that mentality versus what is considered tech death today. I like the weird shit. I like the stuff that makes my brain feel like it's flipping around inside my skull, you know? and that's what the new Malignancy was doing for me. And honestly, it reminds me of you know, the era of between Devouring the Prophecy and Cryptic Implosion, what type of stuff that was happening in the Odious camp was the same kind. If you listen to Malignancy, we may not sound the same, but there's that certain ideas that are happening during that album that I was feeling. I could tell that Siskin was a big Malignancy fan with his riffing
Yeah, we used to
style,
listen to it all the time, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So
For
it just,
sure.
I was making that connection like, oh shit, here's, you know, kind of like a New York version of what Odious was trying to do at that time too. But you guys were obviously around earlier and giving us influence. But just to be that standout type band in a scene, you're talking about being a part of that early OG New York scene. Well, we were, you know, part of the Santa Cruz Bay Area scene, and everybody was kind of doing it a certain way, and we wanted to, you know, represent where we were from, but at the same time have our unique you know, our unique versions of that, and that's what Malignancy is to me for the New York scene, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was like, you know, of course, the Florida scene, of course, all the difference. But it was like New York, Suffocation, of course, and we were like, you know, fucking Malignancy was a huge part of that for us, you know. I was just gonna say another one, and my brain just fucking forgot what I was about to say. God damn it.
Pyrexia.
Oh,
maybe?
Pyrexia, dude. Of course, and I was gonna obviously bring that up, but yeah, we'll talk later about all that shit too. But yeah, I mean,
Internal
Pyrexia,
Bleeding, all those.
Oh yeah,
bands,
there's so many
dude.
good New York. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So you know, we were super influenced. Dehumanize. Oh fuck yeah, 100%, dude. Yeah. So many good bands, dude.
So,
but yeah,
since Mike, I'm gonna dig in on Ron a little bit if you don't mind. I know I was just already talking to him, but I want to get like kind of his version of you know, coming up and getting into the scene and all that stuff, if you don't mind.
Do it up.
Right on, brother. So Ron, talk a little bit about childhood. You were born in New York?
Yeah, so I was born in Yonkers, New York, right where Son of Sam was having satanic meetings. They could see it from the window that I was born in, because I was in St. John's Hospital, and the nurses could see down in the park in Untermeyer's what was going on back then. But in '73, he wasn't killing anybody yet, so he was just thinking about it maybe. But he wasn't talking to the dog called Sam Carr yet, which was the dog was Sam, his buddy Sam Carr lived next door. But that's a whole nother story. So you want to get to my birth? So at 3 years old, I had my first guitar, and I already had Kiss albums. Thanks to my father, my sister. My father played guitar for his band was called the Vanguards, and they were like a '50s like high school band, rocker band. But you know, he just did the high school scene and stuff. But they bought me albums. My sister was into Foreigner, Kiss, early Beatles, Rush, AC/DC. So she made sure I had the albums. I had
Were you
everything.
the young one? Were you the youngest sibling?
I was the youngest. My sister's 8 years older than me, and it was
Okay.
just me and her. And then I had a drum set first, so I played the drums actually at like 2 years old, and I beat up the Muppets drum set. So I beat up
Nice.
the Animal drum set,
Hell
and
yeah.
then moved on to acoustic guitar at 3 years old that I painted a tremolo on and wrote Kiss on it and with marker and tried to make it into electric. And I
Wow.
also played lefty at first, and they had to change me because I'm like kind of ambidextrous a little bit. So they
Mhm.
had to change me to righty, so it's lefty first. And then my first guitar at 4 years old is called a Texaco, and it looked just a good old it looked just like the Dukes of Hazzard guitar, but it was a
Yeah.
copy. Ugly, horrible looking thing. But it's what I had to deal with, and moving on from 4 years old, I got into some good shit. And then my dad gave me his '59 Strat to use, Fender Strat, because he seen I was actually could play guitar and I had a banjo, and I also had a keyboard and an organ. So I learned my ear listening to Bee Gees and listening to actually like I would say ABBA, but I say Bee Gees, Air Supply, all that stuff. I learned my ear playing keyboard to like easy 80s yacht rock.
So
And
was that because that's what you just had access to because of your parents and your sister, or
you
were
know,
you
that's what my
finding?
mom was playing, but I think I liked it. You know, so I like Grease. I started liking the Bee Gees, Andy Gibbs, the Shadow Dance and shit. I says these guys could play. I like Men at Work. I started liking like good pop. So I'm always into pop, even though I like
Yeah,
death metal and I like hardcore and everything. I like good pop. If I hear like good like riffs, I like Michael Jackson. If I hear good shit and I like good hooks, I think
same with
like
me, dude.
I'm down with it. So I think I
Yep.
had something to do with trying to develop my ear. If I had a liking to it, I try to play it no matter what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving forward from there is just boom, easy progression. It was AC/DC, Rush, Van Halen. The Kiss was always there, and then from Van Halen was Randy Rhoads and Ozzy and Black Sabbath, and then here we go. Uh, Boom. I go right into Slayer, Creator, Celtic
So
Frost.
let's slow it down just a little bit because I want to talk ages and how you came across that. And of course, I was just going to say that since Kiss was with you since you were a toddler, of course it would always be there because that's like a point
It,
that can
yeah,
just get fused into your DNA.
yeah, it's a big deal with me, Kiss. Big deal.
So, all right, talk about so we like to hear the discovery of metal and what life was like for you at that time. So, you're going through the rush and all that stuff. And what age did you get to metal?
So I would say I got into metal. I would say easily at 8 or 9 years old because I
Who
was already
was
painting jackets at 10, 11 years old.
how
And
so?
yeah,
Yeah, I guess your definition. So maybe more extreme style metal because I want to hear about how you first discovered Slayer. So Slayer was 8 or 9 years old for you?
yeah. Also, no. So I'm gonna say Slayer is probably 10 years old for me because I discovered that in record world, and I'm just like, holy shit, Haunting the Chapel. And I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is this?
So
And I was like,
you went to record stores at that age?
oh hell yeah, hell yeah. We were kids. We would take buses all around to record stores. Our parents were like, nuts back then. Let us go anywhere. But that's how it was. We go to we
um,
go to we go to Chinese Orient stores to buy T-shirts and Ninja Stars, and then we go to all these like bootleg record stores to buy all kinds of like demo records, everything. And in Yonkers and in Westchester County, where I come from, we had multiple record stores back
that
when we
sounds
were
like the
kids.
perfect day, dude. Just get,
Yep,
ninja gear
And
and
Ninja
then
Stars and Death
records.
Metal.
yep.
Sounds
And
like a
our and our
Murray
and
day.
our
Shout out
record
Murray.
store, King Diamond came and did record signings. Uh, Fucking Propane. Oh man, we had Exodus came to our record store when we were kids. Our record
Did
store is
you
called
get
Blood
involved in
Cloud.
like the tape trading shit?
Oh, this is even before that. Our place is during tape trading and before. They have a original Merciful Fate black and white albums on the wall. All kinds of crazy shit. It was called Mad Platters. And then the place across the street was called Rock and Rex. And that was like, it kept going. Yonkers kept going. Yonkers had stuff. And yeah, we had a Tower Records too. Yonkers was a mecca. It was
Yeah.
definitely a mecca at one time. At
It
one
is.
time.
It is a great feeling to have a record shop that somebody working there knows about what you're looking for. Because Santa Cruz had Streetlight Records, and there was a dude there. I forget his name. Shout out to homie. I forget his name, but we would always chat it up because he was super into hip hop and he was super into underground death metal and underground metal in general. So those two sections of that store were plentiful. Every single time I went, I would always leave with a stack of something, and
It's amazing.
it's just you know, for our niche genre of music, it's great to have a brick and mortar spot that still has somebody that cares about it, you know? And it's few and far between now, dude. I've checked out that same store I was just talking about, dude, and it was really depressing. I actually talked about it on the show a couple times where it's not what it used to be. Physical media is, I mean, the record area, the vinyl spots are still kind of packed, but as far as, you know, my generation growing up with CDs, I'm looking for CDs all the time. If I buy a record player, I'm going to be financially done because I'm going to want to start a whole new collection. and you can get into some deep rabbit holes with the vinyl, so I just have to stay away from it, dude. Not that I don't want it. I would love to have it, but it's just this can of worms that I would open up on myself.
Yeah, that's definitely how it is for me too. That I wouldn't want to get involved in it because I've got I mean, Mike has way more CDs than probably any of us, but like I've got 800 CDs that I would want to rebuy all on vinyl and at like $30 a pop.
Yeah.
Or, you know, more if you're trying to get an old out of print record. Yeah, like you said, it just would
even if it's half of your CD collection, 400 albums at $30 a pop is quite a bit of money.
Yep.
So it's just something. And then of course I'd always like, oh, I gotta have the sick record player.
Yeah.
You know,
good speakers. You got to have a good room to listen to it in, you know.
Shout out to Hunter again. He's an audiophile like that. He has thousands of dollars in his listening station that he has in his home, and that's totally it's I nerd out and I fantasize about having something like that, but I'm just gonna have to do it with CDs because I can't do it with the fucking vinyl, even though I've listened to some great vinyl. 180 gram vinyl does sound really sick with the sick player and good speakers.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, so record stores are awesome. We love them. Please keep them.
So then moving
open.
forward, metal gangs. So we jump on buses as kids and just go to the bus. We go endlessly to just find parties. And then you'd see other metalheads and you'd be like, where are you going? They're like, oh, we're going to a kegger here. And that's how you meet up with other metalheads and you'd find out about other bands. And I was like, who's Cyrus Ungle? And they're like, I got Cyrus Ungle. So I got Celtic Frost shirt. I'm like, no, that's Celtic Frost. And then that's how you just network as kids. It's on buses and just meeting people in the 80s. That's how it was, late 80s and early 90s, getting on buses and just going to parties. We'd wind up in parties and then you meet up with Will Raymer. You meet up with guys from Demolition Hammer. And you got quizzed when you were a kid. If you wanted to be part of the Central Metal crew back in the day, the real crew where Mortician came from, you want to be part of that crew, you got quizzed. What do you know in the scene? Name some Celtic Frost albums, name Kiss albums, you know, name some Slayer songs. It wasn't just like, you know, you can't be a poser. Back then, you know, it was a big deal back then.
When you say metal, when you say metal gangs,
we lit them on fire. We did all kinds of shit. We fucking we were derelicts.
When we wear band shirts, we're flying a flag. We are literally trying to signal other metalheads in the wild. When you go to the store, you're wearing a Gorguts t-shirt and you're hoping you might find one guy that recognizes it so you can have a quick little conversation about metal with somebody that you don't know, because we talk about it every week on this show and we do it in our personal life as well, and it's just something that we love to do. But you talk to the same people enough, you're like, I wonder what it would be like to talk to a person about this that I don't know. And that's what going to shows is. That's what going to the record stores and flying our flag to see if anybody sees our flag. Hey, we're over here. Check and come kick it for a minute and talk about how cool this shit is. And we've experienced it together at separate times, but you know, it's a cool thing. So it's like metal gangs. I never actually heard about that shit until the hardcore scene, but like over in New York, it's probably more prominent. Obviously, you're talking about the pre NYDM type shit.
Yep, that was us. There was only a few crews, but there was the Spring Valley crew, there was Central Metal crew, there was Homefield Boys. I mean, I could only name those three because there wasn't that many of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are the three crews.
So, metal is actually a pretty positive community. So it's not like you guys had rivalries and shit like that.
No, we were all friends. It was just crews. It was just
Yeah.
crew. I call them metal gangs because, like, you know, the cops would come against you, or like a rival crowd from that isn't metal wants to come steal your keg. You
Yeah.
become a gang now.
Totally.
You got to fight for your keg. You got to fight for your
That's
music.
basically all we're doing is fighting for beer, guys. Even when we're on tour, we're just fighting for beer. Is beer going to be available? So, all right, now you're kicking it with the homies. And what was the Central New York? What?
So we're calling it the Central Metal Scene. So it's called from Central Avenue in Yonkers. It was a huge metal scene. It was really run by this family called the DeRoma family, but they're I don't want to get into all the names, but Mortician hung out there, Immolation hung out there, Demolition Hammer hung out there, Malignancy, and so on. So it's really was the party spot when we were young kids. That's where they threw the first kegs. It was really, really cool.
No,
And
definitely, dude.
and
We
then
talk
after
about.
that,
Oh, go. Sorry.
then came the dark days, the dark times. That was when grunge was coming in, all this shit. And I went to music school and then college, and this kept pumping the metal. And then Roger introduced me to this band called Debauchery, which was just one of his little personal death metal projects, where me and him did it for like a year, but didn't really put out anything. And then after that, a year later, these guys asked me to join Malignancy, and I was like, shit, all right, I'm right out of college. And I was like, fuck it. My other bands just broke up, which were like, I was doing more like the Queensryche proggy metal thing that was going on. Because
You
one
didn't still
was
have the Texaco, right?
I was nah. At that time, I was using Paul Reed Smith's. I moved on in the world. Uh, yeah, I guess I jumped a little bit, but
Nah.
yeah. So what let me get back a little bit how on guitars then. So my dad in the '80s took me to 48th Street Guitar Shop and got me the Al Skolnick RGs, Ibanez's, and made sure I had a righteous guitar. And then we were using 88 preamps back then, and 88 MP1s, MP2s. Then we moved on to Mesa Boogie Triaxes, and I was opening up for Nuclear Assault, Overkill. I was in a band called Frenzy at the time, thrash metal band in the late '80s. I was 16 years old. I was in my first professional thrash metal band, and then after that, I made my own band called Dysfunction, and it was like more like a I would say it's hard to explain. It's I think it was the transgression of funk thrash, because that was the thing. I was into that Mordred thing. I got into it a little bit, and I was into that little funky thrash stuff at the time. So we got into that, and it also had the Queensryche feel, and that was Dysfunction. That band broke up, and then boom, here comes all the death metalers. Let's do
Right.
some death metal stuff. And then I was, as a kid, I knew Roger, because Roger, when we were kids, is a big part of the death metal scene in Westchester County, because he sold T-shirts in Yonkers at a flea market since we were like 12 years old, and he was pumping Creator. He was pumping everybody. Creator. Roger made the original shirts for Clifford Moore. That's his design. He made the original Alf shirt, the alien life from the TV show from the '80s. Like, Roger was big time, man. He's a
Yeah.
smart dude, and he was working for a T-shirt dude. They're pumping these shirts out. He met me. He's playing Creator when I'm like 12. He's like, "Oh, you got to join my band." I'm like, "I'm not ready yet," but later on, we meet up, and boom, I did the
Sick.
Bakri thing, led into the Malignancy gig, and
Where
the
were all
Malignancy.
those? What was like rehearsal for you guys? How'd you guys do all that with all those
So,
bands?
so Roger owned his own studio we called the Crip in Yonkers. He recorded all the demo bands in Yonkers and stuff. And by the time I joined him, he that studio was gone, and we just went to his house. He had a studio in his house, and boom, it was easy for me because I'm out of college. I could play anywhere, record anywhere. I already had 2 albums under my belt with this Dysfunction and this band, Dirty Brown Eye, my hardcore punk thrashy band. And I says I'm ready to roll, and we started writing the Ignorance is Bliss demo, and boom, and then Malignancy songs that they already wrote, I kind of like tweaked them to my taste a little bit. Danny would tell us if it was gay, because Danny would be like, "Oh no, this is no good. It's not brutal. It's too happy, too gay. It's got to be more brutal, or this sounds like Cannibal or Suffolk, so you can't do it." So Danny's like was the orchestrator when we were little kids. It was great. And
That's
then
awesome.
and then we bought our own board. We all chipped in. We bought we had a 48-track Soundcraft board, and then we bought 4 8-at machines, and we recorded our own material for like our first 3 albums. And then
Nice.
after that, we continued doing it with Lance and Mike, and and Mike records his own drums now, which sounds so much better than anything else ever. So,
That's one thing I'll give to, the progression of technology, because we talk about editing and all that kind of shit, but it's just like the fact that people can be different places at different times and make an album together. I love that. I love that that's opened up the possibility of, multiple humans, no matter where you're at on the planet, we can make an album together,
sick.
And you got your own, having the home recording studio. That's like the big plus, dude. That I really would love to have that in my place when I finally buy a fucking place.
Well, I think, I guess to just sort of pick up where Ron was talking about, when I joined the band and with Lance and everything, Lance was recording us, and we did Human Grotesqueries. We actually went to a real deal studio called the Carriage House in Connecticut, where Fates Warning records, and Beyonce, and all these other real deal things. And essentially, we recorded the record there, or at least the drums there, and got the tracks back and decided they didn't sound good because the guys didn't really know how to mic up a kit for a death metal band. You know, when you have a tom mic that's this far away from the tom, what are you going to get? Bleed. I'm playing a billion miles an hour. What are you going to do? Right. So I ended up buying a bunch of mics, and then Lance recorded us in our rehearsal space whenever he would show up, which was not often. So it took a billion years, and since I'm a ridiculous perfectionist and we didn't have the ability to punch in anything, basically that record is what made me decide I'm going to need to learn how to do this myself, because it was such a terrible experience, because we would do the songs 35 times or something one day, and then I'm like, I still don't like anything I did, because what would always happen is I'd fuck up the very end of the song, because you're like, holy shit, I nailed all this stuff, and then oh man, just kind of train wreck the end, and it's like, oh great, well delete, now do it again. And that was the way we recorded Inhuman. And I noticed pretty quick, after take 3, Ronnie wasn't dancing anymore. So it's just man, the vibe is not what I wanted it to be. And so it was I realized I had to do it within the first 5 takes or something of a day. And that meant essentially okay, so this is the 3rd day when we're trying to do this one song. And so okay, if take 4, that was it, because we couldn't go to all right, I had to decide right there, that was it, couldn't do anything else. And then very quickly realized I don't like recording like that at all. And so fast forward to when we did Eugenics, I recorded the whole thing in 3 days because I did it the right way with, I could just pick whatever was my favorite part of whatever take. And it's just like, oh, it was always almost inevitably, that album is filled with take 3 almost the entire time, except for one song, which was The Breach, which was, The Breach was not take 3. The Breach was take 7. I remember this because when it comes to numbers that I had to memorize, I can do that. And The Breach was actually called song 12 at the time. Anyway, but yeah, so after that, I started actually recording myself, and now that's all I do. And I make a living out of touring and or recording albums for people. So, I mean, I did I think I already had, so the Malignancy album, there's this Black Hole Deity album. They're like, I don't want to talk about all the other bands, but they're like 6 albums.
We were going to want you to.
Well, this is Malignancy time. You can have it out again later.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, because Malignancy for me is, if I want to sort of back up a little bit, my 21st birthday party was with Danny and Ronnie and Lance at a hibachi steak place, and they were like, "Are you gonna drink?" And I'm like, "Nah." But that was, I mean, I'm 42 now, so I was in the band that whole time, right?
Crazy.
And it sucks because I moved out of New York, and then it just meant that I couldn't be there all the time, which sucks because I'll tell you, it's I love Malignancy so much, and it's it's kind of the most annoying thing in the world that I can't do it all the time because I have to make a living, and I'm the guy who chose to make a living via music, so it's just when we have the ability, I'll do it. But again, shout out to Alex Cohen, who capably fucking plays all the shows that I can't do. And again, wishing him well if he's listening, which he probably won't, but but yeah, recording is having the ability to record myself and then send it off to somebody. And then, what I've learned a lot of the times is that I have to give lessons in recording to other people because I like I said, I'm a perfectionist, so I just have to fight people on trying to make it as I gave you these crazy drum tracks with all these accents and shit, now you have to actually match with me. We can't play the editing game where I'm going to edit the crap out of your guitar tracks. I'm not talking about Ronnie, because Ronnie is obviously from another planet and plays unlike anyone ever. So it's sort of we're both just trying. I don't know. It's my favorite reviews of Malignancy stuff is always oh, it's a drum solo and a guitar solo at the same time. Yeah, kind of. It's kind of exactly what we're doing. But just because the question was about recording, I was talking about other people and just trying to get other people to learn how to record properly and play tight enough, because to me it's all got to be as real as possible. And that come to the new album, Discontinued, and it's actually, so I probably recorded maybe 100 or so albums in my lifetime on drums.
Wow.
And that one was absolutely the hardest I've ever had, the hardest I've worked on a record, because with Lussa and the guy I forced us basically to use to mix and master, because he's the best in the business, if you ask me. He was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could get rim shots on everything? Yeah, it would be awesome if I was somehow a robot that could get rim shots on everything when I'm playing 8 fucking billion miles an hour. But we came up with this plan of where I was gonna do like, as opposed to like eugenics, where I would improvise a billion times. And okay, well, like I said, take 3. That was the answer. So take 3 didn't sound like take 2 or take 1 or take 4. It was just, you know, what it was, and I loved it usually. Or I say liked it the best because I've never been too happy with anything. But with discontinued, it was sort of like I was gonna do that, so I did my improv thing, but then I went back and replayed it, like learned what I did, which was the hardest thing I've ever had to do because I improvised like I don't know where I come up with shit, but then I just wanted it to be played so well that it didn't need to be, you know, we didn't need to focus on editing or whatever. I wanted it like I didn't want a sample or a trigger on anything. I wanted it to be absolutely like real drums, and that's what that is. Like, not well, Lutha puts like a room sample on, like, you know, when the slow part happens, you know, there's just an added room sound. But I mean, I've recorded a bunch of room mics too, so maybe some of that was used. But generally, they're like the drums you hear are the way the drums sounded in the room that I recorded in, and
Nice.
like there's no trigger on the kick. You know, that's the real kick. That's what the kick sounds like. But I did more takes on this album than anything else I've ever done because I was striving for trying to get it to be the best, like most powerful sounding thing I could possibly do. And I broke 5 crashes on Malignancy tracks, which is crazy because like I don't really hit very hard with Malignancy. It's too fast. It's like physics. So, which is something I learned from the drummer from Severed Savior back in 2003 when I asked him at Maryland Death Fest. I think it was 2003 or 2004. I was like, how the hell do you play so fast?
04.
Yeah,
It was 04, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, how the hell do you play so fast for so long? And he just told me. And I was like, okay. And then I used that and just tried to go forward with like, that's literally how I was able to learn how to blast faster. And I don't even know his name, which is kind of screwed up. But, you know,
Murray's actually correcting me. Now so did I go, you played the first Maryland Death Fest, Murray? Because did I go out? Yeah, I guess no, it's right because Dan wasn't there when you played. Dan went in 04. All right, so no, 03 is correct.
Yes.
First Maryland Death Fest, dude.
03, yes.
Yeah. So there you go. But Danny would be telling that part of the story because he loves to call me out on that. You used to ask everybody how to blast. Like, yeah, I did because they didn't have any like video or anything. There was none of that shit. I had every drum video that came out or VHS tape that existed, and it was all, you know, Dave Weckl and all my actual favorite drummers, but they never had anyone who showed you how to like blast. So It's
funny you were saying, sorry, the drummer of Sever Savior, and I didn't tell you say his name. Yes, that's Troy Fullerton. Thanks, Murray. Murray's awesome. Murray's producing the show from the chat because I'm already starting to get too drunk. Not too drunk, but I'm definitely feeling it now. So talk a little bit about your beginnings with drumming.
So I found a book not too long ago that I studied out of back in the beginning, the Alan Dawson snare rudimenty thing, blah blah blah, and it said 94. So I decided that 94 was when I started. That's my guess. So that would have put me at 12. But well, if I'm gonna go do the Ronnie story, Ronnie thing, I can tell you that at 4, my brother, who's 4 years older than me, at 4, he got Twisted Sister Stay Hungry, and I stole that from him and I played it relentlessly. So when you're 4, you listen to like Raffi over and over and over again. Well, that for me was Twisted Sister Stay Hungry. I basically, what was funny is not until Twisted Sister got back as Bent Brother and Danny Nelson was like, hey, let's go to the show. I'm like, okay, that'll be hilarious. And I went to the show and I knew every word. And I'm like, why do I know this? Like, why the hell do I know this? And I didn't have any real memory, like no active memory of, well, until I talked to my parents, they were like, yeah, you just played this stupid thing over and over and over and over and over again. Like, oh, shit. And AJ Perro, shout out to that guy who's one of the most underrated drummers in the history of hard rock and heavy metal, which is a thing that's like.
Who do you play with?
Twisted Sister.
Oh, shit.
Like, go find any footage of him playing live, and it's like fucking mind blowing. That guy was unbelievable. I saw them 14 times after that one time Danny and I went. I'm like, I got to see this more. This guy's unbelievable. So, and then I actually played Grass Pop with Fear Factory, and they were playing right after us. So I ran from our stage, like, fuck that. And then, unfortunately, every time after that, Mike Portnoy was playing with him because AJ passed away, and that sucks. But whatever. Anyway, so when I was 8 or so, so like I took that tape from my brother, so he no longer listened to it. So he doesn't have a Twisted Sister memories. But the memories we do have were, I think when I was 8 or so, both my brother and I asked for Metallica tapes for Christmas, and which is weird because we're Jews, but we did celebrate Christmas for some reason. So
because it's rad, dude. I'm not a Christian, but I still celebrate it because it's rad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have no religion, but I mean, technically Jews, so it's kind of weird to do Christmas, but whatever, Hey, anyway, so we both asked for Metallica tapes, and he took the blue one because he was older, Ride the Lightning, and so I was stuck with Master of Puppets, which is still to this day my favorite album of all time.
Quotations stuck.
Yeah, stuck. And it's like that's kind of where my journey started. I heard Lars, and I'm like, I want to do that, which is always hilarious when you talk about it now. Because Lars is the world's most loved, least maligned drummer of all time.
Right.
And he was super inspiring to me. And if you listen to pretty much any one of those 100 albums I've recorded so far, I will always, at least once, do the completely random crash cymbal. Lars does that all the time. It's like, why is there a crash here? It makes no sense. It's just okay, like that exists. And so I have played at least one on every fucking record I've ever done in tribute to Lars.
That's rad.
And is it always a purposeful thing, like you're specifically trying to do it, or it's just a random thing that happens?
No, I'm purposefully going like
you have the Lars moment on every record.
That would be so funny if Mike's at that moment he's just like, his brain's just going crazy, but there's just this one thing that jumps out, and he goes,
I got to do it.
Yeah. Oh man,
Lars.
And he sticks out his tongue and does the whole like,
Yeah, now we have a compilation of all of Mike's Lars moments from all of the recordings that he's ever done.
That would be amazing.
Have you guys seen that?
That would be amazing. I would love to see that, dude.
You guys see that meme thing going around where the guy, the Larsism shirt, and then like he takes a picture with Lars. Double bass is optional.
Fucking awesome.
It's so good. Disregard the song completely.
So I have to say, when I finally like played with Metallica with Raven, and met Metallica, and like there's a picture of me with Metallica. You have no idea how pissed off I was that I could not find a Malignancy shirt, because that was like I was trying my best. I was on tour, so it was like, and it was the second to last day of the tour, so I was trying my fucking best to find a Malignancy shirt, because I'm like, I'll never I'll never be able to live that down. That'll be the greatest moment of me with Metallica wearing a Malignancy shirt, but unfortunately, I couldn't find one. So I wore a Watchtower shirt, which is also
that's
very
a
valid.
nice runner-up, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I always feel like I have superpowers when I'm wearing my Watchtower shirt for sure, dude. I've had it for a couple decades now, and every time I put it on, I just feel different. I feel like going to the grocery store, I'm going to find everything that I'm looking for.
So
nothing will be sold out.
Yeah. In another one of those like meant everything to me moments, like meeting Metallica, I finally saw Watchtower play on Saturday.
Really nice, dude.
Nice.
And it's hilarious because I'm friends with Jason, the singer, and I was like, hey, can we or like is it going to be sold out? Because I'm going to drive 3 hours to Houston to go see you guys, and like I just want to know if it's going to be sold out. And he's like, fuck that, man, come meet me at my house. Rick, the drummer, and I will all carpool. So I carpooled to the Watchtower show with the singer and the drummer, and and like Rick Kolaluka is one of the most important things in my life as a drummer, because as I mentioned, I improvise everywhere, and like that's how I play. I'm too fucking ADD to be able to like really focus on trying to like learn a specific thing. Usually, I mean that's all Fear Factory was, but whatever. And then painstakingly doing the new Malignancy album where I'm learning these parts because I like, again, they were improvised, and then I learned them to just be able to perform them flawlessly
to the best of there's the ghost light. The ghost light just decides to come on.
That's the 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes left?
No, dude, I got as long as you guys got, dude. But that's sick because Rick is his name, right?
Rick Kolaluka.
Yeah. So why isn't he talked about enough? When you listen to Control and Resistance, dude, what the fuck?
So oddly enough, I had this conversation last night with Bobby Joe Zombek, the other best metal drummer who ever lived on the planet. And I was just like, how the hell how do I get Rick to be more well known, especially like amongst death metal guys who like have no fucking idea?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the most surprising.
We loved it. We've been listening to that for quite some time, dude, and but yeah, we are few and far between.
Yeah, I think Ron Zombek making an appearance on some record that you guys.
Yes, and that's the whole reason, because we were listening to Spastic Inc. We were listening to Watchtower.
Oh God, yeah,
and I think that what it is once you get down deep into the hole of extreme metal, and you acclimate to the extreme vocals, then when you backstep to a clean vocalist, it almost feels like I've already dug this deep, I don't need to come back up the hole. But if you come back up the hole, because that was your own digging, that was your own journey to dig that deep, but you may have missed some things along the way, like a Watchtower that has the clean, not everybody. I think that mainly is what it is. If
that was my hardest thing when I started listening to them, or even Martyr. Like when I first heard Martyr originally, like the vocals, there was something about it that didn't totally like connect for me. It wasn't like I hated it, but it just didn't feel like the right thing because I was used to growling. I was used to.
You acquired the taste of the death metal vocals.
The funniest thing for me is I discovered Watchtower right around when I discovered death metal. So to me, it fit right in. But because I mean, it was like extreme Rush, Big Bird noises or something he was making. It was just like absurd. And I was like, I fucking loved it, partially because my voice is way too low that I can't ever pretend to hit any of those notes, but I sure as hell try. Like the other night, I would have loved to have a microphone while I was singing along to these songs that I can't hit a fucking note from, just because I'm like, it would be amazing. But like discovering Watchtower was like a whole big explosion sort of thing for me. And Well, the funniest thing about it though is like I immediately loved the vocals of Watchtower, but another one of my absolute all-time favorite bands is Confessor, and I hated the vocals at first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, very few people know there was a connection where Scott Jeffries did a demo with Watchtower as a singer. So I mean, he's like in the same range, but for some reason it was just like I hated it when I first heard it. I loved Watchtower vocals. I hated Confessor vocals. Made no real sense. But,
and as we're talking, I'm finding another element that might, turn some extreme metalheads off is the E-kit sound of the toms that Rick was playing on that album.
The Simmons pads.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kept asking him the other day, like, why didn't he have his Simmons? Where are your Simmons pads, man? I'll fucking stand there with a microphone, go do. They don't have them. I mean, like, but yeah, he's just like, it was another thing that it lived in the 80s, and it made it recording easier back then to do things, because like it was new technology. That was all exciting. All the Cold War, like stuff that was important at the time. That's what Watchtower was about.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that would turn people off. But I mean, the drumming is just so fucking mind blowing.
I know.
I mean, like,
we are lucky. Casey and I are lucky enough to have had our small little group of friends that we wanted to discover new unique things, and a Watchtower was within all of that stuff that we were discovering together and loving together. We'd sit in the living room and play Watchtower fucking loud as fuck, and everybody would be drinking and smoking weed. Awesome. and just like, dude, look what Ron's doing right here, and just like
that's awesome.
Yeah, we would just nerd out, dude. That's what it is.
The thing to me, it's like, so growing up, I had one friend who listened to metal. His name was Dan Alpert. We're still friends.
Shout out, bro.
He was the one guy who listened to metal that I knew. And everybody else, like in high school, when I started a metal band, how'd I do that? By grabbing the kid who wore like a Limp Bizkit shirt and showing him what real music was. That's true story. So I ended up having a band in high school because, I just found the guys who were like closest. Holy shit, that kid wore a Tool shirt and he plays guitar. Well, now I'm going to show him what real music is. I never liked Tool, by the way. But
you can see his bubble was hovering right next to the next bubble that if you just walked a little bit further, then you find out this whole new array of greatness after you step out of the new metal phase.
Yeah.
Bubbles collide.
And so I had two friends in high school that I forced to listen to metal. So that was my band. Fast forward to I'm 20, and then I meet Danny, and Danny is literally the only guy at that time, the only guy I met that shared actual like taste with me. He was way more into death metal than I was, but like he knew all the thrash shit that I loved, and then Ron, of course. But like that was the thing to me that made Malignancy so interesting, is that I listened to death metal from 1996 to 1994 or to 2004, and that was it. And I never listened to death metal again.
Really?
And that sounds really weird, but I mean, I would check out things here and there. Obviously,
not even go back to the classics that you had connection with.
I would, because I mean, still to me, Gorguts Erosion of Sanity is the best death metal record ever. And
I have to take a deep breath every time somebody says that, because it's so true.
Yeah, right. And I remember when you were talking about Ron was talking about Mad Platters. It reminded me of, I had this record store called Vinyl Solution. What
up?
And in Portchester, New York. And they had that Gorguts CD, and I saw it for weeks. I'd keep going back because it was $8.98. That was like the highest price I was willing to pay for anything. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know, man. And it's like the cover was awesome, but it was like I was just hoping it wasn't going to be another one of those tricked by the cover, because at that time I definitely was way too many times.
You could, yeah.
By the cover, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, like, I was tricked by Nazareth. That bothered the shit out of me. I bought a Nazareth record and I'm like, this is gonna be brutal. And it was like, no, this is total, like, absolutely not what I want to hear.
Yeah.
And
Seagrave was approached by a lot of bands at that time.
Oh yeah. And then so yeah, I finally got that Gorguth CD, and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, there it is. And it's like, that was the top for me, and it's never been equaled or beaten.
So Orphans of Sickness was the first Gorguth song you ever heard. You finally got it, and you popped that in, and dude, how cool is that to look at something for that many weeks, not know what is within this little physical thing. You don't know. You're just it's being it's being advertised to you by simply the artwork and the logo and song names, and there's no way to listen to it anywhere because
I saw Roadrunner.
That's another thing too. Following the labels, that's the thing. But just even for a virgin walking into a store at that time, not being able to access what these things sound like, it there's a romanticism and a lure that happens when you're flipping through CDs and the band is just advertising to you, this is what may be within this music.
so you'll probably appreciate this. When I started touring with bands that made money, I started doing, so like essentially when I was making money on the road, I started, I had a rule, which was every single freaking day in any, whatever city I'm in, I will find a way to go to any local record store and spend at least $10. That was like, even if I didn't like anything, I was spending $10. Like, I don't know, I'll take that patch, which I don't want, but it was like, I just wanted to, it was the least I can do to try to help keep the thing I love alive.
Right.
And so normally I'd spend a lot more because they'd have great shit. And I was like, oh, all right. But at least $10. And I had done that. Still to this day, if I can, I will do it. Because it's the very least I can do. And it's like, I worked at that record store later on. For CDs. I didn't make money. I made CDs. Like, so we had this thing where I would go in the back and I would organize alphabetically, and I'm way too ADD for that. So it was like a terrible idea, but I found a way to kind of make it work. And I remember I still have I could name a lot of the CDs that I got that from doing that, but just in the back, I remember I had they had the Napalm Death Greed Killing like maxi single. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because I had all these Napalm Death records, but I never saw this. Like, I felt like I'm part of this club that like only a few people are gonna have it because it's in the back of the record store, And actually, just reminds me, the other day, maybe 3 weeks ago or whatever. I was playing with Raven at a festival, and I look to my right, and Shane Embry is there staring at me, and I'm like, the fuck is, like, this is weird, like, not intimidating or anything, no. Like, I love Lockup, by the way. I still do. Pleasure Pays Stewards.
I love Lockup.
Still fucking rules. So that came out in the right time, yeah. Yeah, and it turns out that he's just an enormous Raven fan, and he fucking loves Raven. So I'm like, I play in this band called Malignancy, and he's like, oh, because Mitch Harris is a fan and a friend, and we've hung out a bunch of times, but I never really met Shane before that day, like 3 weeks ago. And Danny, the drummer, Danny Herrera. And I was asking those guys, like, hey, you going to play? I mean, I know it's Greed Killing, so it's not really the era that you guys focus on. They're like, no, we have too many songs. I'm like, okay. because I had the maxi single, so I just felt special, you know. And that's like, you know, when you're obsessive, ridiculous human like myself. Alex alluded to it before. I have somewhere around 16,000 CDs.
Yeah, so like that. So house when we were hanging with you, you had an entire room that the wall, like you had built shelves, like the thing you see behind me, but the entire wall on every wall of the room was full of CDs.
That's
So
that's epic.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I got 1,200. And when it's funny that Alex said 1,200 roughly. I'm just rounding it off. But Alex said 800 earlier, so he actually went half of what you actually have, dude.
Oh no, like legit, it's an entire room. I was completely blown away when I saw that. Well, like I've seen people with big record collections before, but I was like, damn, dude, this is nuts. And I can only imagine that really sucked to have to move that to Texas.
I've mentioned it before, but Joel's dad is the biggest VHS collector I've ever met, dude. He stayed at Joel's dad's place in New Mexico, and we stayed in a room. The walls were lined with VHS. It was a blockbuster on steroids, dude.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, dude. So like, I mean, for me, I was always a music collector. If I exact same thing you were saying about records. It's like I can't do this. I absolutely cannot, because
I want to. I so badly want to, but I can't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I love how big the artwork is. You know, it's like it, and the smell. I love all of it, but I just I can't do it. But like, you know, when I was living in LA, I would go. There's this swap meet that every CD was like $1. And so I just fill out my collection with all sorts of stuff. Like, okay, kind of want this Elton John record because, well, great songs, man. So like, why the fuck not, right? But and I remember one day they had I don't know how this worked. It's obviously somebody was like stealing something, or some guy died, or some guy stole his whole collection or something. But like, you know, one day I found 75 Buckethead CDs.
Whoa!
And I was like, hey, I'll give you $25, and he's like 30. I'm like, done, here, you know. So here's 75 Buckethead CDs, like you
for
know,
like 45 cents each.
Yeah, right. Like, and I've never sell any of it, but I could, and I could probably make some money off of that kind of stuff. But you know,
there's something about a dude like Buckethead who puts an album out every month or something. At his most prolific point, it was every month he'd have a new album.
Crazy. See, I wanted to do that with Malignancy, but it didn't quite work out. But yeah, we should go back to Malignancy because that's important.
Dude, I'm along for the ride, dude.
Alex, I'm going to ask you a question. Sorry,
okay,
I don't want to
Mike.
take over here, but I have to ask you a question. What the hell was it like for you when joining Malignancy and like having to learn this shit and try to figure out what the hell the bass was doing on all the records?
That was definitely a challenging thing because, you know, Ronnie had sent me some tabs for some of the songs that, like, I think maybe him and Vaughn, you know, the guy playing in Defeated now, I think that they had kind of put some tabs together for a few songs, but it was still like 80% of the music was untranscribed. So I would have to sit and learn it myself. And that it took some time, you know, so luckily that happened during the height of the pandemic. Like Ronnie, I think I first got in contact with him in like April of 2020 or something. So like the pandemic had just started and he hit me up. And so luckily with all of my gigs disappearing, I had some time to start learning this stuff because dude, I can't tell you how many like 3-second sections of music I've sat and just repeated over and over and over and over again to try to pick something out and to try to figure out like what the fuck is happening, or like is that the bass that's doing that or whatever. And so it was a challenge, but luckily I've, done a lot of transcribing, especially with going to school for jazz, developing my ear, learning that stuff really, really helped pick it out. So, having to learn it, period, was difficult. But then there were some sections where I just kind of would sort of make up my own part in a way, and that's one thing that I've always, appreciated with Ronnie and Danny, is that they've kind of just let me do my own thing sometimes. That I don't really always know what Roger or Lance did. I can't remember if it was Ronnie or Danny sent me some of the DI tracks from the re-recording of Intrauterine, so I could hear exactly what Monty did on that stuff. But yeah, there's some parts where I'm just kind of doing my own thing, or at least like the closest to what I think was happening in the on the original recording.
Did you take that same approach, Alex, with the improv? Like, did you have moments with it where you would just press record and play and see if,
So I have done that with other projects. I mean, I haven't really been able to do that with Malignancy just because I haven't recorded anything with them yet. But I definitely do that approach with like Exist or other bands that I've recorded with. But just the one thing with especially how improvisation has really helped me is with Malignancy, like the way that the time and the rhythm works is very stretchy and very elastic, and having experience with improvised music or free jazz and open-ended types of improvisation has really helped with that, because dealing with the way that the time works in Malignancy is very like abnormal. Like there aren't too many metal bands that like things stretch and push and pull within like one riff. Like you might have, bands where the tempo changes after a certain riff, but like inside a riff, you don't have things that like breathe quite as much. And so that can be a little bit of a uncomfortable thing for you to play to if you're not used to that. So I'm really glad I had experience with more open-ended kinds of music, because it made learning the Malignancy stuff a lot easier. That
totally,
like if I hadn't had that, it would have just been like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, how do I even like do anything to this? Like, this is crazy.
And that's the thing about a Malignancy record or something that still makes me excited, that within one riff you can still stretch it and breathe, like you were saying, and you get that in Diego Sanchez too,
and then also just like playing live too, like Mike talking about improvising a lot of stuff. It makes every gig a new experience. Like you always have to be on your toes. You always have to be paying attention. You can't just start zoning out and like thinking about if you've left the oven on at your house, or
right,
like yesterday.
You're acting as one organism. You're just
totally
a part of one organism.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that was one of the things I always loved when we were like, I want to say the well-oiled machine, when I was playing, we were playing shows like every weekend or whatever. It's that like I wouldn't have to say anything or whatever. Ronnie would just know, like, I just feel like today I want to play this part slower, and he's there with me. Like, it was never a question. I mean, sure, there would be parts where I'd forget where I was because, I mean, come on, it's Malignancy. So, and we would do I remember when the first time I started jamming with Alex, I was like, so we might just go on like Jazz Odyssey for a little while, and then we'll come back at some point, and like, well, for instance, the last two shows we played, I cut out a part of Neglected, which doesn't make sense. I've never done that before, ever. But I just kept cutting it out the last two times we played that song. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I like, we somehow found it and ended the song properly. But it's like there's no time to like come back together, especially like if I cut something out, it's a huge deal. If I elongate something, it's a little easier because then we can find each other and like we'll do the Ronnie dances, so I'll find the one like we'll find things. But like when it's especially when we were like just rehearsing, we used to rehearse 3 days a week, which I loved. It's like, anything anyone could do, we would all be there. It would all work,
and it makes for a unique Malignancy experience
always,
for the people who go out and see it that night. You know?
I never felt like I play the same. Like, well, okay, that's unfair. I feel like every time I would play, like Intrauterine, the song, because Roger played the drums on it, I would play it kind of the same way every time for like the first 12 years of being in the band. And then after a while, I started just going like, well, why don't I try doing what I do with other songs with the OG songs? Because it's not like, okay, Rotten Seed's probably going to be like Rotten Seed, but other songs that it's just like, why don't I fuck around with it and see what happens? Because it was always, I would always do that with the songs that I played on. But I guess, so going back for a second to like Alex trying to learn songs, the way I learned songs when I joined Malignancy was very different, because what I realized was I couldn't make out anything that was going on in the record, because it sounded like you took like a bunch of drum triggers in your hand and you just went like and that was it. And I was like,
pots and pans falling down the stairs.
Yeah, like what the fuck is happening? And so thankfully, because Danny and Ronnie always were telling me when I first started playing with them, because back up even more. See, ADD. I'm sorry.
That's all good, dude. We're here for the whole thing.
I joined Lance's other band. That's how I ended up in Malignancy. I joined Lance's band called Virus Christ, which was like normal death metal. And then he's like, I think he told those guys, he's like, I think maybe he would be good for Malignancy. And I'll tell you, absolutely not was the answer. I was not good for Malignancy at first. I was trying to be Derek Roddy. So, very normal drumming, like normal blasting and, like normal fills and stuff. And they basically, we took each other kicking and screaming into a different place, which ended up being kind of like the way Malignancy sounds now on record. But it was like, at first, I remember I started, really the answer to me was that Ronnie was just a guitarist that was unlike any guitarist ever. So sitting there, Ronnie showed me riffs, and then I would say, what did Roger do to this? And then he would tell me like, oh, it's kind of like a blast. So I kind of like blast. And that's how I learned old Malignancy songs, because I couldn't really make anything out. So it was just like, Ronnie would just tell me what to do, and I'd be like, okay. And it actually worked really well, because that meant like from the beginning, I was always trying to do like what Roger did for the most part, but like tighter, as I'd say, which I always gave, when Roger later joined on bass, it was like, this is cool. I get to so what was going on there? And he's just like, I don't know. So it ended up being, all right, I'll just do whatever. But it worked, and it sounded like the song. And then, fast forward to, I always wanted to write. From Danny would tell you this. The second I joined the band, I just wanted to write. I wanted to write new music because I'm a creative soul. That's what I need to do. And he just wouldn't do it for the longest time, because he's just like, no, you got to get a handle on these songs. Like, you got to get behind this band first. And it was very, very obvious to me that Ronnie was just, like I said, just so far beyond every other guitarist I've heard. He doesn't play like anyone. He plays like a fucking alien. And so it's kind of like, after a while, I decided that I just didn't stack up. So I was going to have to work my ass off to be able to like make it not just like the Ronnie show of like how awesome Ronnie is. I was like, I'm going to have to like try to make it so I can play along with him in the right way. Because Roger would be the first to tell you, him as a drummer, he's not really a drummer. So he couldn't like keep up with what Ronnie was doing. He did his best, but he couldn't, you know? And for me, it was sort of like, all right, I got to figure out how to do this and add to it. And so by the time we started writing Inhuman, it was sort of like I was sitting there going, and I was learning drums like actively. So I remember the day I learned how to do a 6-stroke roll, it ended up in the song Neglected Rejection, the same song that I kept fucking up as I was just talking about live. But yeah, like it was like I learned this thing and I put it in the song because I knew, left to my own devices, I would not practice and make this rudiment awesome. But if I put it in the song, I would have to make it like good because I didn't want to let anyone else down. So I'm like, I'd work my ass off to try to make like it work. And actually, if you were to dissect it, the way it worked in the song is very abnormal. But that's how the riff was, and that's what I played to it. You know, so it worked out great. And still, it's never an easy song to play, which is awesome. But you know, then fast forward a bunch of years, and okay, so I joined Fear Factory. And then the second I had a moment off, all I wanted to do was get back to writing Malignancy songs. And so I don't know the names of them, unfortunately, but Purity is one of them. I think that is actually the second song we wrote for the album. And I can't remember what the first was. But they are literally, to me, the answer to me being in Fear Factory and having to play like, you know, a robot. And I just immediately got home and was like, let's
fuck all that.
Yeah, fuck all that. And so those are the only 2 songs we wrote for this album that were me and Roddy in a room just jamming, which is how we did all of Eugenics and how we did all of Inhuman. To save time, the way we did the rest of the songs was different because we basically, Ronnie and I would, he'd play a riff and I'd say, okay, try doing this. And, oh, well, yeah, go, and he would do that because, again, like I said, alien. And I'd be like, hey, play that backwards. And he'd just do it. Like, how the fuck can someone do that? I don't know. You ask that guy up there. It's like, and we would just like create this shit and then record the guitars or record just like scratch guitar, and then I would record like a scratch drum track to that, and then essentially we ended up having demos stemming back from 2014 because, well, I don't even understand the whole story of why we didn't record until way later, until when it came to my part, which was when I moved to LA. I didn't want to record it yet because I didn't have my studio perfect. I wanted to like do other records with in my studio first, because I mean I built like a professional recording studio, not a bedroom studio. Like I went to town. I went crazy, built a real studio, and I didn't want to test it out on something like this. I wanted to test it out on, you know, other records. So I did a bunch of black metal records. I did a bunch of death metal records, a bunch of other stuff.
What's the sheetrock? Is it supposed to be lead or something like that?
Oh, if you want to get into this will be. I'm already talking too much. You want me to?
No, dude. I want to hear. I asked because I'm fishing for some of this information here.
Okay, so what I did in that studio is I bought whisper clips and hat channel. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. But Before that is mass loaded vinyl, which works as essentially it's like a pound per square foot. It weighs 1 pound, and it's mass loaded vinyl, which is the basically
like a bunch of Black Sabbath records. Is that?
Yes.
Mass loaded vinyl. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, dude.
It comes in a I can't I'm not lengthwise anymore, so it's maybe like I don't know. It's I'd say like 3 feet long in a roll that weighs 250 pounds or something, and so I'd have to like put a sheet up and like nail it, and I'd have to like go crazy nailing it while holding this up. I mean, on the ceiling and stuff. And if I what would always happen is if I didn't hold it exactly the right way, it would just rip right off the ceiling and just like fall. And you're just doing that heavy, a million times. But that is the equivalent of what they were. It's like, it's about mass. So it's not, lead would be awesome because the mass is enormous, but it's like you do the mass loaded vinyl because it's a little easier to work with. And, you know, yeah, basically. But I did that. And then the clips, which like, so if you have here's your stud, only contact point is this little clip. So then from there, here's another thing. You attach the hat channel. So you have a bunch of rows of these channels up and down like the entire length of the wall from ceiling to floor. And you put your drywall into that. So you have no studs, which is really annoying. So I can never hang anything from the walls. But and if you press the wall, it moves because soundproofing is all about like containing vibrations. So if I play drums inside, the walls will vibrate. The inside walls will. The outside walls hopefully won't, and that's how the sound won't travel. It has the 2 layers of drywall. I had green glue in between them, and then I had the hat channel, the whisper clips, the mass loaded vinyl, then the outside stud. And I like when that's the easiest way I can explain. The fastest way to explain that.
I gotta have one room in my house that's like that, so I can do the podcast, I can do the music and all that shit. And I talked to dudes about that and lead, and now you've added with this. What'd you say? Mass loaded
vinyl.
MLV. It really works too, because like when we were rehearsing for that tour, if I stepped outside and you and Ronnie were still playing, you couldn't hear shit. Like I could hear maybe like a little hum of something going on, but even if I was standing right outside of the door, it really worked.
Which that's fine, dude.
Yeah.
What about the door though? How do you do the door?
Okay.
2 doors.
The door. Right? I have 2 doors.
Double door.
The outside door has a product that I cannot remember the name, but it was like $550. It's like a door seal. And what that does is try to seal all the air. So essentially, if one door was closed, the other door was really difficult to close. Because one went.
You're pushing space. Yeah. You're pushing air into that space between them.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. And to doing that, so I had to do that. And then on the other door, because I didn't want to spend another $550, I imitated that with wood and weather stripping and tried to make it sort of like the same thing, which ended up working pretty well. But then I also put a bunch of mass loaded vinyl on the outside door. So that door weighed like 1 billion pounds. And that's the trick to it. Basically, it's like,
I guess if there's a fire, dude, it's going to take a lot to get to you.
That's true. And okay, well, we didn't discuss this beforehand, but yes, somebody about 2 weeks ago tried to light my studio on fire. Yay,
what
LA.
The fuck?
There was an unhoused individual who went into the alley and lit the tree that's attached, like basically connected to my studio, on fire.
Yeah, and it's like touching your studio too. That's like the back of your studio just is that tree.
Yes. And okay. I'm going to make this really short because this is actually an insanely long story. But now that I live in Texas and I'm building a new studio, and I'm building a studio that's 4 times the size of the studio I had in LA because Texas is that much cheaper. But my contractor just ran away with $35,000 of mine, so I'm kind of fucked. But anyway, moving on, because lawsuits are about to happen and insanity. But
take his ass.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's what's going on with me right now, which I will try to not dwell on, because positive shit, right? Malignancy.
Right, we're just hanging, dude. But you can say whatever you need to say.
Oh yeah, well I'm not gonna rage on some asshole that stole a bunch of money from me.
He is an asshole.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking
gotta go
piece of
start
shit
breaking
that
some kneecaps.
Dude, I had so many people around here threatening, like, telling me that I'll go break his fucking fingers. I'm like, yeah, well, I need like my money back first. So like, let's do the legal approach until I get my money back, and then whatever happens to him, I don't care.
It sounds like we need to hit up the Central State. What was it called? Central.
Yeah, hit up the metal gangs.
We need to hit those guys up.
Central Avenue metal gangs. That's the 80s, brother. That don't happen no more.
I think you guys could still break some kneecaps, dude. Come on.
Yeah, a few of us maybe got this, but we're all 50 plus now.
Oh, this guy is in his 60s, so you got him. No worries.
Oh, we got him.
Hey, I'm watching the Godfather series again for the fucking umpteenth time, dude. There's some old guys that fuck some shit up in that movie, dude. Come on.
Oh, dude.
It's true.
If you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. But everybody has guns in Texas, right? So,
That too.
Yeah.
All right. So fuck that guy. I fucking hate him. We all hate him. Fuck him and his business.
Yeah. Yeah, very much. I would yeah, I'm not gonna keep getting into it. But
no.
Malignancy. That's the important shit. But at least, yeah. So I was essentially talking about I talked about recording. We were talking about writing. Okay. So when we were writing this record, like, yeah, it was sort of in between shit, like when I wasn't on tour with whatever band it was at the time. And like, so Ronnie and I, even though we're like the most different people on the planet, we somehow connect amazingly well musically. Like, it doesn't ever make sense to me. Like, I don't want to say that like he knows what I'm thinking or I know what he's thinking, because I can't predict what the fuck is going on in his brain. But it's just like it's a connection that works unlike anything else I understand.
You guys learn how to speak to each other through music. You guys are fluent in a language, a dialect of a language, and both of you can speak to each other. That's what it is.
And so that being said, these songs were written crazy quickly. Maybe like
the fastest Malignancy album ever.
Yeah, like
nice.
They were written so quickly.
Which is wild, because like this album is, I think, the most complex Malignancy album. Like, at least for me,
learning a lot
stuff was way harder than learning any of the other Malignancy material that I had to learn.
Yeah.
And so hearing that is pretty wild that came together the quickest, because it's like, to me, it's the most technical and the most involved and complex out of all of them.
Well, I think part of that worked because we didn't have to be able to play it yet when we were writing it.
Sure.
It was just like, let's just fucking make this happen. And like I said, hey, just play it backwards. And the funniest thing was when when Ronnie was doing his tracks, like his actual tracks after I recorded drums, and he would do something that it's like, well, that's just different than it was before. And he's just like, I don't know what the hell was going on. Like the demo was the demo, and it didn't really it didn't survive, if you know what I mean. So it's like, even the some of the drums that I recorded, even though
oh no. Where'd he go?
We lost him.
Let's just sit in silence for a little bit. And
Well, what he's saying is in the demo, the demo, all our friends heard the demo and they were like, "What the fuck? This is the best shit in the world." And we tried to make the demo exactly like the album, but you lose a little bit here and there. It's hard to recreate demos. You know how that is.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody. The demos are always the
Interesting.
yummy. That's when you wrote it.
It is actually, there's a big factor to demos versus listening. There, you come across a demo and you fall in love with it, and then it's recreated on an album after that, and a lot of times it doesn't hit that same level that it hit you on the demo. I mean, there's so many versions of this for me, and Dying Fetus, even shout out to Dying Fetus. I love you guys to death, but there was a demo version of some songs that came out on Stop at Nothing that were better than that album came, and that's fine. I understand as a recording artist, as a dude who makes multiple versions of a song. There's some odious demos too that I think that we already had it then, but I still think that we got lucky and made a better version of it after that demo. But I think that it is all about how you connect to it as a listener, and if you decide to like really put your hooks into it, to have that song recreated after that, you have a lot of what's the word?
Yeah.
There's just a lot on the line, and it's a make or break moment if they don't hit those same vibes
They got their own
had.
They got their own vibe, So, or
But
there's like the snare on that one, man. There, or something.
Of course,
like
your homies and your friends are going to be the first ones to be like, "Oh, well, I already connected with this version of that song. Then you did it again. I like that first version better." And your homies are going to tell you the truth. They're going to be honest, and that's fine. You just do what you do.
Our friends never noticed anything different, but me, Mike, and Danny, we're the strictless. We're like, man, we try to recreate everything the best we could from the demos, but sometimes a lot of these riffs in this album for me, I came from 80s video games that were ROM games, Mr. Do's Magic Castle, Beer Tapper, and not that I'm stealing from riffs, but I'm hearing them in my head now. I'm not hearing them on the album. Like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr., but
they make you feel a certain way. They make you feel a certain way. You're trying to make these riffs that make you feel the same way.
Dude, I can tell you, Ronnie always comes up with the most ridiculous comparisons to me. He's like, yeah, this riff reminds me of Anthrax. And it's like, what? Yeah, because it's like, here, this note, and then this note, and then this note. See, those three notes are like Anthrax.
And what about the 5,000 other notes that were surrounding this?
Right.
That's rad, dude. But that's, I mean, making that connection to like your roots and something that you're, making today, and it's something that's still relevant. Not only relevant, but I think that you're bringing back this like style that I was feeling more in the early 2000s, and now we got a great recording of Malignancy at their top tier technical projection, and I'm like, yes, dude, this is what it's all about. Like what I was feeling when I was in my 20s is not these people are coming back.
Let's do this. Let's get it back.
Yeah.
Let's get the technical back.
Yeah, I think that, and we talked about so many other reunions.
Everything sounds like Grave again. I can't do this no more. I need new shit.
And we all have our like, are versions of that we love, but we're the tech death kids, dude.
Well, it was a hot topic when you guys put out that album, and like it was the talk of the town for sure. Like it was like online, dude. It was like like my Facebook was just like Malignancy posts or like two or 3 days, just like, whoa. I was like, I gotta check out this album, man. Like artwork looks cool. I love Malignancy. It's gonna be fucking good. I knew it was gonna be good. But man, it's great. It's so refreshing to just be like, yeah, man, this is what we need right now. Like this kind of shit, like it was like, I don't know. And there's like the shit that comes out that's really good. And then you're like, okay, that was a great album. Like that one, what's the band? Vitriol or whatever. That was a cool album, And
quick, fast.
It's fast and it's brutal and it's different. It's way different than Malignancy, but yeah, it was just, dude, the new album is just so cool. And it sounds sick and like fucking, it's refreshing. It's just what we all needed, It's like, fuck yeah.
Let me ask you guys, what do you think about actually being able to understand Danny?
That's actually okay. Listen to me. I did.
I was busting his balls, singing to him after he did it. I got these vocals. I know a few lines.
I align myself with other vocalists that try and enunciate enough in our genre to be heard, not just read.
Right.
That was my goal ever since I was 19. I was just like, I'm going to start doing this thing to where I can try and sound as brutal as I can, but be heard. So people don't have to read along as much. I mean, still, you listen to my stuff. If you don't know this shit, it's going to sound foreign and just growly or whatever. But
is it more? Is it more the style change, or I mean, just thinking about it, like, is it like, I mean, also the recording and like the approach with that.
Well, to mention Danny, you're saying that they're saying that is a style of change for him, but I as a person who wants to hear the lyrics as much as I can, listening to Danny on this record is something that I definitely noticed, that along with this human sounding record, that is bonkers, but it's human. Danny is also he's performing in a way that I can hear him.
I think it's cool when someone like Danny's like got such a rad style in so many different ranges. Like it's cool to see someone diversify, kind of like, be like, oh, I can do this and sound like this, and it's just like he's a
and this is something that I'd like to say to his face right now, but he didn't show up.
Yeah, fucking Danny,
motherfucker.
Let's talk about him behind his back,
right?
Or maybe he's just been sitting here watching the whole time.
Yeah,
he fucking is, dude. No. Danny, you're sitting on your couch right now.
Talk some shit. He'll just pop up into the
drinking his beer in Nevada.
Say, oh no, guys, that was gay. Fuck that. No.
But I mean, I felt like his vocals on this on Discontinued, it wasn't like it was a big departure from. I mean, like Malignant Future, he kind of was doing a similar thing where it was more.
Keep in mind, Malignant Future is song 3, song 6, and song 5 from, and song 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
So this record
10, 11, 13, 12.
This record, okay?
Yep.
This
sounds
record,
like a Discord song we're trying to fucking tab out right now.
No, this record, all right. The songs as they start are all songs with the name song 1, song 2. Because
sure, the first
right?
Yeah, the first songs I got from Discontinued were all numbered.
Yeah. So Antiquated is song 5. It was meant to be on this album, which was meant to come out like a million years ago, right? Yeah. So Malignant Future is songs 3, 5, and 6 from the writing of this record.
Yeah.
So Danny was just like, let's choose some songs and put it and like kind of make an EP. And I was like, okay. But then I had to convince them that we should not re-record them for this album because why? It's already long enough. And it's like, I don't want to hear 45 minutes of Insanity. I like 30 minutes of Insanity. That's the way it should be.
An EP
so therefore his vocal approach is similar to that, but it's not similar to it's still similar in a way, but like the style he did before, if you know what I mean. Because I'll tell you, for the first 16 years I was in the band, I knew one word to one song. One word.
And what was that one word?
Transmutation, which sounds like yeah, that's it.
That's from what, cross species transmutation?
Yep, that's it.
That was our little EP, dude. That was the Odious EP that we bumped that shit so hard, dude.
Nice. Yeah, that's like here's a weird story about that EP, the cross species transmutation EP. It was actually recorded on my computer, even though I was not on the album. I was like there to be in the band, but Roger was just finishing that album up, or the EP up. And so I remember they brought me to Pennsylvania to watch them rehearse so I could actually see like how the hell any of these songs were played. Which was cool because I then sort of did a similar thing with Alex Cohen, where he came to my house like day in and day out for a while so I could show him how to play absolutely everything that the band would be playing live. But so, yeah, when that was done, like, I think Roger didn't really know why I was some random dude showed up at his house, but there I was. And then they, they did, like I had a better computer than anyone else at the time. So I'm like, yeah, why don't you just use this? So they did. And that's how they recorded that record. And I also, I'm not going to credit myself with much here because I had nothing to do with the writing or anything. Aside from that, they used my computer. I didn't help in much any other way except for trying to convince them to use an actual snare sound instead of a trigger, because I hated the trigger so much when, like I said, when I was trying to learn those songs, that like if you use the actual freaking snare sound, and they did with a sample on it, but it's like there's the snare sound, and I think Lance actually would say I convinced him to do that because Lance mixed it. So, but then fast forward to Discontinued, which is completely, totally real, but like done by a guy who does this for a living. A lot of emphasis on trying to make everything sound as, for me, I was like trying to get everything as clear as possible, yet also to still be brutal, brutal, as Danny likes to say. But like, there are two songs that don't have blast beats on them. There were actually going to be 6, but I decided last minute that I was actually going to find a way to blast in some of those songs, simply because I didn't want to take it that far away from the realm of brutal death metal. But so there are 2 songs with no blasting, because I mean, how often does that happen in brutal death metal? Right? It doesn't, right?
Never.
Yeah. So 2 songs without blasting, and one on the Malignant Future EP also doesn't have blasting. If you can see like the companion album or the companion EP or whatever, if you want to see it that way. But it was the last minute thing where I added a little bit of blasting to those other 4 songs. As opposed to like the last song in the record, which I'm sorry, I can't tell you what it's called. It's called Song 11 to me. And the album starts with song 12. If you want to go chronologically, understanding how we wrote the record, the first song on the record is song 12. The last song on the record is song 11. In between, I could tell you, I'll hear the song and I'll tell you what number it is if you care. But
what's the beginning of song 6?
Song 6 is on that's
Future.
Yeah, on Malignant Future. So
what about song 4?
No blasting. That song has no blasting.
What about song 7?
That's that one.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah, right. That's understand when I sing a riff, it has the drums in it. When
I
Ron
love
sings a
it.
riff,
I
it
love
has the
it,
riff in
dude.
it. Right. So if we were to sing the same song, like we would sometimes be very confused singing the same exact thing to each other because my version has the drums in it when I sing it. His version, obviously, it doesn't. Right.
Nope.
But like song 11 was the one that that was mostly written. Like I wrote a bunch of shit on the drums. We've done that once on every record that I've been on. Like I sort of like do a mostly drums first song because it means we'll have something very different. The last song on this record is the mostly drums first song. The last song on the last record is the mostly drums first song. And the last song on the record before that is the mostly drums first song. Oddly.
Seeing a pattern here.
Yeah, right? Danny chooses the album order, so I don't know how that worked out. But he just did that every time.
Biological Absurdity is the name of the last track on Discontinued.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, song 11.
Yeah. Disregard what I said.
Yeah, Biological Absurdity. Okay, I'll possibly remember that.
It'll no matter what be track 11. Like Odious does working names. We have Rambo's Revenge. We have.
It's so hard not to go by the
Beetle.
working titles.
Yeah. Well, so that was the thing. On I can still tell you on Inhuman every song. Like Inhuman Grotesqueries is song 5. Neglected Rejection is song 9. I know the numbers better than I know the names of the songs. I know Organic Machinery is song 10. And then on Eugenics, I was like, I can't just do numbers again, so it's going to be letters. So
Nice.
A, B, C, D, E, F, you know, right? So
Shut
like song
up,
I is Monstrous Indifference. You know, like
song I, dude.
Yeah.
What?
That's how I know those things. And then since we're on then the third album for me, it would be Back to Letters, but I just called everything C. So it was like 1C to keep it different from song 1, which is
so is it because in your brain you say track 12, you might end up going back to a file that you're not trying to pull up, and you're like, fuck, man, I needed 1C, not track 12.
Because there could be multiple track 12s.
Right. Well, so understand how many records I play on. So if I have a thing on my computer called on iTunes, it's just like unknown folder or whatever. Track 1 is like fucking I could scroll for like a day of track 1s. So it's like, but there's
and
only
I was
one
saying when I said
1C.
pull up a file, I was using a metaphor in your brain. I'm not talking about using the computer. Like do you label it actually in your brain to where you have
I'm telling you that I'm connecting I'm making that connection for me, I guess. Track 1C is connected to that song. I know exactly what that song is. I don't know what the actual name is yet. But also, if you look at all our old set lists, Danny would name whatever the song was and then write song 7 next to it. So that way I'd know. So I'd play the right song.
The Mike translation.
Yeah, because it's like, dude, I've lived with that song for 4 years before it ever had a name.
Right.
How the hell am I supposed to remember it's this, organic, doobadid, dobbidly?
Hey guys, let me give you guys let's do a Malignancy plug because it's getting a little late for me. I gotta get up at 6. I gotta go to work at 6 in the morning. So
man,
Eastern
so you gotta go to work.
I don't have much time to go. But
Ron, you can cut out whenever you want, brother.
No, I'm gonna do little stuff here. So we love everybody. We got some shows coming up, man. So August 17th, baby. Everybody, we can't wait to see everybody in Brooklyn with Dismember, Vomitory, Morpheus, Thunder Gang, Malignancy.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be fucking sick, bro.
So
Then this is another little secret show. August 28th is a Wednesday night at Lucky 13s in Brooklyn.
What
with
up?
To Violently Vomit and Malignancy.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
Little sneaky show in there that I know everybody's gonna
Dude.
show up because man, Wednesday night in Brooklyn, if it's a little discouraged to violent and
Fuck, man.
people are showing up.
Yeah, all you real cats, if you catch that secret show, you're gonna have a fucking blast,
Yeah,
dude. To have
yeah.
those two bands playing in the same
Secret's
night,
Check
out,
this
dude.
out.
man.
We got a Philly banger. It's a Philly banger. I'm pretty sure September 7th. I'm gonna run to the calendar right now. Watch out. Make sure it's real. Hold on.
How crazy would it be to hear a Diego Ron collaboration? The two coasts, the two dudes
Oh,
that
he's so
are
sick.
kind of like now that
Yes,
I've gotten enough
September
of Ron.
7th, baby. Philly. It's this
September 7th.
Bonzo's bar. It's like bar and grill. You'll see the flyers up. Some new
That's what's
spots
up,
to start doing shows, and I heard it's gonna be killer. Look out for us,
dude.
Philly.
But you know
On
what
the
I
seventh.
hear? You know what I hear would be killer is you and Diego collaborating on some music, bro.
Oh, the two
I
OGs. We're the oldest guys
two
in Brooklyn now.
OGs, two fucking each coast underground fucking real riff wizards, dude. I think
Yep.
I think you guys can make something great, bro. I
Sure.
really do. The way that you guys think and the way you guys play, I think it would it would be on the same plane to where you guys would get that same feeling that we're talking about, just in the jam studio, improving and catching waves, dude. That's all it is, dude.
Oh,
And I
he
think
knows.
that
He knows. My buddy knows he's down. We bring the hash pipe out. We get going.
well,
It takes me and him
maybe
2 seconds because me and him, Jim, like the OG is. I don't sit there and try to figure out anything. I write death metal in seconds. If you want a
right.
death metal song, I write one in 30 seconds. I write it right on the spot, and then I
Mm-hmm.
relearn it. That's how it goes. Either
I
you
think,
play death metal, you don't. You just sit there and figure out. Oh, you just know how to do it, and that's how
and that's how
Diego does, and
Diego
that's how
works
we do.
too.
That's how it goes. We're old school.
And I think that if we could make it to where you guys could get in person and do your thing, I think that something would be great after that, dude. There's no way
let's do
that
this.
would be a
Let's do
train
this.
wreck.
Let's do
It's
this.
going to be a blues jam. That's what it's going to be.
Let's do this.
Hey,
Let's
fuck
get
it.
let's get us on the podcast live. Me and Diego in the same studio, and you guys pick the drummer of your choice, but make sure he can play fast or he ain't gonna handle it. And
I'm
let's see
down,
what happens.
dude.
Because we
Dude,
jam on the spot, and
that's
you can
what
pick
I
the
would love for
newbies,
that.
but make sure the newbies can handle it.
Hey, we're not talking about no
Let me just
newbies. We're
mention
talking
2 more
about
shows,
OGs right now.
Let me mention 2 more shows. It's September 21st, Piranha Bar, Montreal Pit Fest, Sinister and Malignancy, Tombstoner, so many others, man. We hope to see everybody. And then September 28th, here's the big one, upstate New York. You guys been waiting for this, Middletown, in between Westchester and fucking Albany. Let's do this. Morpheus Descends, Malignancy, and Disma at Quinn's
Oh yeah.
Pins, September 28th.
Nice, bro.
Big. That's big, huge. And that's an old school scene that's now coming back. So that's what's up. Just like Ohio's coming back, New York's coming back, Middletown, Yonkers,
Dude,
everybody's coming back. We got New York Hardcore Comics right here in Dobbs Ferry, New York, in Westchester by Yonkers here, doing free hardcore shows. They're paying the bands, and because and they're bringing big Killing Times came in. We're watching goddamn Leeway played before fucking passed away. Fucking jeez, but shit's going on.
it is, dude. Shit's going on.
Back.
The scene is definitely back, dude. The scenes are back in all the fucking hot spots, at least, dude.
Yep.
And I love it. I think that everybody came out swinging as soon as they could after the pandemic, and I think it's recharged a lot of the aspects of this shit that's making everybody want to come back and do it again. you know, and yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad you guys are a part of it too, dude.
Yep.
It's
I got
it's
the
what's
best
up,
brothers
dude.
in the business, man. I love my brothers. Alex's, my fucking Mike, Danny. I love you guys.
I hope you consider
I'm gonna
us
sign, man.
brothers
I
too,
love the
because I
guys
can consider
podcast.
you brother now.
I love Tone, man. But guys, I'm gonna sign out because it's getting close to my
I know,
getting ready to
dude.
work
Oh
out.
yeah.
All right. Love you, Ron. Love Lee.
Love you guys, man.
Rock on, Ron.
Peace out.
Dude.
Peace out, dude.
Man, forever. I'll see you guys soon.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thanks, Ron.
Peace out.
Peace.
Now see if we can turn it on.
He did it, dude.
All right.
That's what's up, guys. Four left.
That's
Yeah.
right. And still no word from Danny.
Yeah.
Well,
Fucking Danny.
Dan's like, I already did it, dude. I don't need to do it again. Come on, Danny.
well,
Come on. Get
I've
your
already
fucking
done
ass
it a
back
bunch of
here.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got a bass on you?
Oh yeah, I've been sitting with this the whole time.
Oh, you turd.
Yeah, I mean,
Is
just
that-
like you, I'm practicing all the time.
Is
Oh,
that
okay.
like a
Silently
OCD thing? Like you got to have it if you're sitting somewhere in the certain environment. Is that where you practice most of the time?
Oh yeah, no, this is my like studio room. So
Yeah. So when you're sitting in that chair, it feels weird to not have the bass in your hands.
it's
so
it's like autopilot. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
No, it's like my security blanket.
That's
Do you
what's
use
up,
the third
dude.
finger yet?
That's what I've been doing. Yeah.
All right. Good man.
But actually, I actually don't think I told you this yet. I'm pretty sure I have focal dystonia in that finger, and that's what the problem was.
What's focal dystonia?
It's a neurological muscle disorder that basically it's your neural pathways going to any part of your body kind of get misaligned and kind
Is
of.
that what Christian had? Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Victor Wooten has it. I think even Alex Webster might have even been dealing with it for a little while. And basically, it's like your wires kind of get crossed with like any part of your body. Like it can happen. I mean, like drummers will get it in their feet, and people even get it in their voice. Where basically,
it's like physical synesthesia. Sorry.
It's like a physical stimulation that your muscles contract and in an uncontrollable kind of way.
Involuntary.
Yeah. And it can kind of manifest itself in different ways. Like some people get it where like your finger curls in. Like Christian, he has it on his left hand and his middle finger. So if you watch a lot of videos, he'll be playing like this because his middle finger curled in. Yeah, it's that completely. He had to change how he plays because of that. And then there goes Anthony.
And then there were three.
Yeah, and then there were three. But yeah, I mean, it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. So, like when you were, yeah, exactly.
It's about time for that. He's slurring a little bit. I was
yeah, he just fell face first on his computer and knocked out.
So you guys jam. We need to start a band.
Yeah, it's always funny seeing the decline of him getting drunker and drunker. But yeah, like when I was talking to you, Mike, about that when we were hanging at your dad's house, I didn't know that I had it at that point because I just thought it was some like practicing something I needed to practice through. Like I had been like neglecting a certain Vikings disease. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look into that.
Left pinky is kind of a random.
Yeah,
your left pinky is like that's weird.
I mean, it can happen. Stuff like that can happen to any part of your body. But yeah, at the time I didn't know what it was, and because a lot of people. I mean, for one, like you just saw with Anthony, like most people don't even know what focal dystonia really is.
Well, isn't it like there's a difference between regular focal dystonia and like music? Whatever, there's some like
no, it's all kind of the same thing. It's just it how it manifests itself. I mean, people can get it with writing. Like you can get like the thing you were just talking about. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look.
Is
up
that different? Oh yeah, okay.
That was the Viking disorder or whatever he just mentioned.
What?
But yeah, I mean, people can get it
about?
with writing. Seeing the comments that people are making on the video. But like people can get like
comments?
focal dystonia with writing, you know, like you like writer's cramp, where like you can't hold a pencil properly, or
What did I just do?
Yeah.
drunk alert.
Yeah.
I just ripped my mic stand out of the fucking. God damn it! Yeah, definitely. When I get drunk, I get fucking Viking strength.
What's going on, everybody?
It's like
Cali
Popeye was
podcast back once again.
Oh God.
Okay. The focal dystonia thing is super interesting to me because, you know, I know a lot of like killer musicians who have to deal with that. And it's like, you know, I know Christian was wearing a glove, right?
Mm-hmm. I actually have some of those gloves right here, like right next to me. That it's like basically this. It's a like a compression.
Put it on, Alex.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, baby, put it on.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean all it is just like a skin tight glove that I tried it and it doesn't really help that much.
Because it's not focal dystonia. It's just weakness in practicing. See?
Yeah, right. I wish it was just that, but it definitely doesn't seem like it is.
I understand.
I wonder if people have focal dystonia in their penis, dude. Like they have involuntary boners.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were like a porn star and you were having to do that all the time, it could happen.
Dude, actually, we're getting onto something because if they're working at that all day and they're just, you know, shredding in their version of life, there might be like the Christians of the porn industry that have focal dystonia in their penis, dude.
But the really hilarious thing is that so with focal dystonia, you can get these tremors. So like if I hold my right hand up like this, it's in my ring finger, it doesn't do anything. But if I put you see how I kind of started doing that?
Yeah.
I'm not controlling that at all. If I put my hand up like this, it's fine. But if I put my hand in sort of a position like I'm playing bass, you see it starts doing that. I'm not controlling that at all.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, so like the tremor thing would be really funny with your dick because then that just means
you're just like
only
ordering. You're at
position.
Starbucks and you're getting your coffee, and everybody's looking at this thing.
Right?
Oh fuck!
But yeah, it's such a weird thing and such a weird sensation not being in control of there you go, not being in control of your body, you know, like even if it's a small thing where it's only just your finger. And so for a long time I had no idea what it was. Like I just thought, like I said earlier, that it was a practicing thing. Like I had just been neglecting a certain like muscle group in my hand, and it wasn't, you know, it was something I just needed to play through, which is actually the worst thing that you can do for it. You know, like Victor Wooten, he has it in his left hand, and it's actually these like 3 fingers. So his story and his experience with it almost like identically mirrors mine, where he just started noticing he was getting some like fatigue in his these 3 fingers, and he just thought it'd be something he had to practice through. Like he was just getting sluggish, and it makes it worse, you know, because it's not really coming from a physical thing. It's actually coming from your body being in a like fight or flight response all the time.
Like the body fighting back or something. It's like
it's really trippy. Like it's basically the reptile part of your brain being in a fight or flight response, and it doesn't know the difference between like an actual physical threat, like a lion trying to eat you and kill you, or like your negative self-thought about like yourself as a musician. It looks at those things as like the same thing.
So
it's like a defense mechanism in a way.
All right.
You and Christian are somebody who I, at least in knowing you guys, practice quite a bit. So is it get to a point where your body's like, hey, fuck you, dude. Like, stop doing this. We need to go eat and sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And go for it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I was thinking not to make light of this, but can we get a band called Focal Dystonia where only you use only those appendages?
Dude, you just hit hit a hot spot for me. I would love to hear a focal dystonia band that all have every single person has that ailment, and they learn how to overcome it and see what comes out.
Yeah,
how they
Oh,
can
dude,
play.
I mean, I'm almost 100% sure, like all the double thumping and like thumb picking stuff I do
what's
came
that,
out
Alex?
of him.
Yeah, why didn't we plug that in the beginning, dude? Sorry, Alex. We fucking fucked you in the beginning of the show, dude.
All right, but anyway,
this isn't about me. This isn't about
But
me.
you're on the show and you're part of the band. What are you talking about, dude? You just put out a book, right?
Hey,
that I did. I have copies of it right here.
The double thump is actually also the double thump is also used in porn. So
we did a disservice to you, Alex. We should have done that in the beginning, dude. And I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. Bass players get the short end of the stick all the time. Anyway. So
he's used to it.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty sure I developed all of that stuff because of having to deal with this. Because dystonia is movement. There we go. That's the dictionary definition.
Dystonia is a movement disorder that causes the muscles to contract. This can cause twisting motions or other movements that happen repeatedly and that aren't under the person's control. When the condition affects one part of the body, it's called focal dystonia.
There you go. That's it. Couldn't have said it better.
Not
Thanks, Ian. Shout out to Ian, Sick Drummer Magazine.
Yeah.
Always
fuck yeah,
coming
Ian.
through.
But yeah, I mean, without focal dystonia, I don't think I would have like developed the thumb picking stuff that I do, because I was kind of unconsciously fighting against myself and something my body wasn't trying to do. So in some ways, it was like a blessing in disguise, because without that, I would have just played.
Been a real bass player?
I would have. Yeah, I guess I would have. But
I'm just kidding.
Be in a different dimension.
See, that's you overcame it and you found a way around it. That's awesome. Like that's
and you see what you
awesome.
do as a player, Alex. Come on, dude. Anybody who you're making me realize I need to stop growling in the car. I need to fucking even do more, because you have this ailment and you push through to give us the sickest fucking bass lines. Every time I watch you play, I get so I smile and I get giddy, dude. So
I appreciate it, man.
And that's truthful, not just because you're a guest on the Cali Death podcast and you've been so many times. It's because you execute, and each like avenue you get put into, you adapt and you enhance everything that you're a part of, dude.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Most definitely, dude. I love it. I love everything that Alex is a part of. I love this new Malignancy record so much, dude. And Mike, your drumming is so sick.
Yeah, I think this is one of Mike's like craziest performances. Just like only going through and like listening to the drum parts for a lot of it, it's like fucking insane, man. So
I mean, I listened to it.
Thank you, sir.
I listened to it this whole lot because that's what I do. Full disclosure, all the listeners know we listen to we really try and get connected with the person's album or whoever's going to be on the show, get connected with it so we can get in here and really talk from our hearts, you know?
Yeah.
And Malignancy has always been a band that has come up in and out of me listening to extreme underground death metal. But this one, again, reinvigorated my love for Malignancy, and it was the drum sound. It was the literally the story that I put out, because I try and put out the story with the music, a little chunk of whatever they give you, 15 seconds. I do my due diligence and listen to the album and try and find one of my favorite parts. And the part that I put up for Malignancy is something that I still have to listen to over and over and over again, because I fully can't grasp everything that's going on in just that 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's something that's so inspiring and invigorating for me to just have 15 seconds of a band that I'm still wanting to listen to it over and over and over again to make it to connect. I connect with it, but I don't even know
like
what the
figure it
words
out.
want.
You know,
Figure
it's
it
like
out.
something
Yeah.
you've never heard
I
before.
want to crack the code. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I want a codex handed to me, and it's like I'm put into an escape room, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this room, and the escape room that's making it really difficult is the one that I get stoked on. So Malignancy is like one of those escape rooms that I'm still trying to figure out how to get out of, you know?
That's what
I'm still
every
stuck
gig.
there.
That's what every Malignancy gig feels like for me. I'm trying to get out of.
That's great.
And it never really works.
No, but I and yeah, for the people who make the escape room, it's something for them to even try and get out of. Is make something that is harder for you to get out of. It's still this, but for just a listener,
Yeah.
I want to go to a Malignancy escape room. I want to really like have to fucking grab one book off the wall and get to fucking page 197 to find the one word that's gonna fucking crack the code.
Yeah.
And it's in there.
He's gonna have to name the
definitely in
time
there.
signatures first, and then the thing will open. Yeah.
Well, when I go to that book and I go to 197, I open it's gonna be like track 12.
Yeah.
No, but that's really that's what I feel, and that's what I love, because I don't want to just feel like I had my experience with the listening of a band right away. I want to dig into it, and a band like Malignancy is going to give you multiple listens to try and crack that code, you know?
Yeah.
And you may never.
My favorite review of Eugenics said something along the lines of like, I had to listen to this album 26 times before I realized where the songs were. And I'm like, fuck yes. That's like that's it. I mean, if you can figure it out in one listen, you're better than I am. And I wrote it. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like Ronnie and I, like I said, we wrote this stuff really super quick, but it's like it's a part of us, and a part of it's also us having fun, and the way we have fun is not playing your average everyday music, right? So it's like I loved all the twists and turns, and honestly, out of all the Malignancy albums I played on, this is the one that I cringed the least when I listened to.
Nice.
There's only one part that makes me very annoyed when I listen to it, and for my own performance, I mean, that it's just like, oh man, why did you do that? But every other record I played on, the entire record is me going, why did, like that would be so much. If you did it the way you did live, it would be so much better.
So you've progressed. You've progressed, because it literally. We've said it so many times on the show, dude. If you are a performing artist and you're completely satisfied with your performance on something, you're probably not going to do it again.
Right.
You got to have at least one aspect of your performance that you want to improve for the next time it comes around.
Yeah.
That's like I want to say my entire existence is based upon that principle of I'm never satisfied with where I'm at. The problem is right now with this Malignancy record is when I listen to it, I'm just like,
you got
finally
close.
Yeah, the production is finally there. You know what I mean? Like it's like everything's there, where it's sort of like, man. But that's the thing. The more I'll listen to it, the more I'll find things that I'm just like,
But a guy like you with all the other projects you've done and everything you've been a part of, you're still going to just have that one little thing that's gonna still keep you going to the next record, dude. Even if it's just one part of one album that is there, and maybe you put it there subconsciously in order to keep you going.
It's possible. I mean, like, well, I put the Lars crash in there to keep me going, but yeah, it's like, you know, that's the thing about this record. I think it's like all I want to do is top it. That's how I feel about everything I do. All I want to do is make it like, man, where do we go from here? And that's the thing about Malignancy, is that like the writing of these songs was so different than, like I said, any other record we've done, because only 2 of the songs were written like the way the other records were. And well, I guess I'd say 3, except for the one that I wrote drums first, was like I actually did the whole song as opposed to like I did parts and then we connected it with Ronnie. I did the whole song this time, but like there's a song on there that Ronnie doesn't know that Ronnie wrote by himself. Essentially, he came up with a riff, and I just said yes to everything, and I never do that. So like I just let him do that, and like normally I'm the one who's like, oh, man, okay, so maybe try. This is where I love calling out bands he doesn't know. That's my favorite thing. Oh yeah, let's try like let's do like third album Jethro Tull here. And he's like, that's perfect, Ron. Yeah, exactly. You know, he doesn't know what I'm talking about, and I love it.
I love it too, dude.
There are so many different parts that it's like, okay, yeah, this is the riff. I said, let's write a Hawkwind riff. And he doesn't know what Hawkwind sound like, but the riff just ended up being awesome. And I added some time changes to it and stuff like that. And I mean, like, back and forth. That's sort of how it works. Ronnie, do this. He's like, here's the riff. And I'm like, okay, well then add a it's like, okay. Okay. Like, all right, cool. Record that. Next riff. All right, I'm thinking it would be maybe like think psychedelic, if you know, like that kind of thing, and it works with Ronnie and no one else, you know, like and we end up doing that. So I hate to say that I dictate, because it kind of ends up being how it goes, except for the second song on the record, which is actually song 9. That's the one that like I just said yes to absolutely everything he did, and you'll see. Maybe Alex, if you know what song I'm talking about,
Binary Paradigm.
Yeah, but can you attest? Do you know the song?
Oh no, not really. Okay. I mean, I don't like physically know how to play it.
Gotcha. Jacob asked me when he was recording. He's like, dude, what's with this one song? It's so much simpler than the rest. And I'm like, oh, yeah, because I just said yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's a song that ends up being different in this, you know, in the Malignancy realm of like, how do you make a song different when every song has everything in it?
Yeah.
You know? So
it's like improv, and you're saying yes and the whole time.
Yeah. And that one song, like Ronnie dictated the structure, Ronnie did all that. I did that for almost every other song. But that one is just Ronnie left to his own devices, but with me there just saying yes, if that makes any sense.
So you're complimenting everything that was in his vision.
Yeah, and I love that. And then that's why it sounds totally different than the other songs if you listen to it. It's also, I don't blast at all on that song, but I went, as I say, I went ham on that one. I went like, I tried to make it the coolest fucking thing I possibly could, which is what I do with every song. But I did that, like, to me, it was like I was doing it for Ronnie as opposed to for myself, like on the other songs. So that song, whether or not it comes across that way, is a totally different vibe than all the other songs. And I love that. Like, if you listen to it again, thinking about it with that in your brain, you might be able to tell
I'm
them
most definitely going to be doing that again because I've listened to the album a bunch this week, and now that I have that in mind, I'm going to go back and have a whole new experience, and that's what this is all about, dude, is experiences. And I'm glad that there's something that's making me really want to dig into it, you know?
That's cool. And I have to say, so I mentioned before that I don't really listen to death metal, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is important because of what you're saying. It's like when I write songs like this, I don't think I there's no part of me that's like, you know, I don't want to have any of the regular death metal tropes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and
speaking of regular death metal,
Oh
Hey.
shit!
holy shit.
He made it at the
11th
very
hour.
end, dude.
Oh my God,
What up,
baby.
dude?
Continue, Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well,
no shit, we got Danny.
I was just trying to say that,
Acting like he's not even here.
yeah. I was just trying to say that essentially, like, since I don't have any death metal influences, I don't think I write anything like death metal and like standard death metal. And that's what, because we have, because we're a death metal band, I think that ends up being something that also makes us incredibly unique. And that's what matters to me about the music, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, if we sounded like any other band, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But instead, it's my favorite fucking thing in the world to do, and I always want to do it. You know what I mean?
If you're creating something, you want to feel that you're making something new, at least for yourself. You know, you're put into an environment where you have to excel in your excel in the things that you are good at, but also you want to be challenged.
Sure. And speaking of which, Danny.
No.
Danny. Okay. I don't want to take over hosting duties, but I do want to ask you.
Take it over,
because
dude.
it's on camera. So I remember you telling me that, like, at first it was really, really fucking annoying trying to write to this stuff because, like, where the fuck do you do that? But I never got to tell you how much I fucking love what you did on this record.
Wow.
We gave you your flowers earlier, dude. You missed it,
I've never
Danny.
heard so much positivity from you, Michael.
That's also true. But it's like, I was asking the hosts what they felt about, you know, your style being like, you know, you can understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. But the thing is, like, you know, like, essentially, aside from just that, where you decided to sing makes all the difference. And like, so when you were approaching it.
Yeah. I was approaching it from a very dark place, and I don't know how it happened. It just did. So I'm glad that I was able to make you enjoy it, dude, because I know that you're very particular. Yes, you hate everything, including me and everybody else in this world. Not really, but dude, I know what's going. You know, I hear you, brother. And the one criticism, it's not a criticism that I've gotten. It's people say that my vocals sound a heck of a lot like Mr. Ross Dolan, which I don't hear it. I know there's some inflections, as I've heard thrown out there too. I mean, I love the dude, so it's cool that mistakenly I kind of sound like him on the new record. I just wanted it to sound better.
This dude, this is what you just said. I just got to comment on it real quick. It doesn't fucking matter about what anybody says about our shit, dude.
I love it. You know.
No, and you'll, if you rewatch this, you'll hear that you got your flowers earlier, Danny. And I gave you your praise because I wanted to say that as a vocalist who tries to be heard, you are a vocalist that's being heard on this record.
It took long. I had 32 years, and I finally got it, I guess.
It's true, and we all feel that, dude, no doubt. And it being in, because we did the whole journey through metal tonight, and getting down the rabbit hole of extreme metal, and then coming back to clean vocals and all these types of things, because as vocalists in our, the way we do it, we as vocalists who specifically listen to other music besides death metal, you get a jealousy in a sense of listening to the clean vocalist that can be heard, all their lyrics that can be heard easily. But we want to be as brutal as we possibly can with the bands that we're playing in. But at the same time, we're poets, we're writers, and we actually connect with our words, and we want other people, as an ego thing, we want other people to hear our words as well, because that's our only real contribution to the music, other than sounding like a monster over it. Totally. And so my thing has always been like, well, if I'm gonna be this monster guy, I want to write meaningful lyrics that have something to do with myself, and still make it cool, and obviously people read those lyrics too, but I wanted to present myself as a vocalist that can say it to you without you having to reference what I was saying,
Understood. I mean, on these, I tend to find words that people don't use. But I want it to be an educational experience too. I don't want it to be the same humdrum, already been done. I mean, all the zombie killings and rapes and all that shit, Cannibal Corpse did all that already. So we're just like,
we're over it.
We're done.
We love watching Cannibal, and they can do it to us every time, but I'm not going to be the guy that does it.
Exactly. I got out of that kind of early on, and these lyrics were written from a vulnerable spot, and I didn't think I was that. And then all of a sudden I had no ambition, I had no drive, I had nothing going in. Like, I had completely thought I lost my vocals because I couldn't sing, I couldn't growl, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was really irritating. I thought my shit was over, and I couldn't find it. And I the first time I went into the studio to record with Mike Ussifer from Primeval, he was like, let's just do a run, like every great engineer, producer that's just trying to get their shit, trying to get a handle on what I'm going to sound like. He just said, go ahead, dude, let's try it out and see. And what came out, I hated. I was like, this sucks. So I finished the song, booked some time in the near future, because I like to go in and do one at a time. Like, after work, I'll just blitz up somewhere, sing, take a day off, maybe go back the next day, or depending on their schedule, whoever I'm doing it with. And I took my sweet ass time, because again, I wrote the stuff late because I had nothing. I went in there empty. I went in with one finished song. I had ideas, but I didn't know how to facilitate those ideas and structure them and figure it out and sing properly to the the crazy ridiculousness that these guys always come up with.
Right.
I love it because it doesn't sound like anything that's out there as far as I'm concerned. I think a lot of bands that try to do it, they succeed in their own way, but for me, I don't know. I feel it depends. Certain bands, I'm like, oh yeah, that's killer. And I was like, fuck this. I went in and I got the encouragement that I needed from him. But what's funny is I had parts of that first song that I didn't like. So I finished the whole record And then I wanted to go back and do a couple of verses and shit. And I did it. And he's like, holy shit, dude, you sound exactly like you did the first day, but better. And it fits. It was cool. Like, as I was like, because I thought I sounded like dog shit. And he was like, dude, I think it's this is what this album needs, and this is the way you want to sound.
Nice.
And just keep going. And
we were right before you got on, we were just talking about how we perceive ourselves versus what other people feel, and I mean, we didn't hit that necessarily, but you're hitting the same vibes that we were hitting earlier, which is we're never going to be satisfied with our performance. So
no, never.
you need a good engineer.
Mr. Alex Weber is always satisfied. Look at that face.
Oh, every single time. Come on, I didn't even need to respond to that. You know?
I think that it was probably where, you know, what he had, something that he had said that made me go into that. But you need a buffer. You need somebody who's gonna tell you outside of your mind that no, what you're doing is right or wrong, because then you get that reference.
Yep.
But the reference that you have inside your mind is not always going to tell you the truth, dude.
No,
yeah.
no, not at all.
I'm working like I just plugged it in the beginning of the show where I'm working to do live shit again with Severed.
Yeah.
And I'm in that imposter syndrome mode where I'm thinking to myself, can I do this again?
Yeah.
You know? And even though I'm trying to combat that, because I know that side of me is not the one that's going to make me excel to where I need to be. So I need to fight that, but it's still there. You know, there's that part of us that says, oh, you're not as good as this thing right here that you did earlier in your life.
No.
Listen to what you did there. You're not hitting that level. You're not good enough now, you know.
Yeah,
and
well, you get better with age. I think a lot of people do, and
that's a positive. That's a positive look. I want to say that I'm gonna get better with age, dude.
Well, so you're already there, dude. So you know, just
thanks, bro.
I mean, I remember when I first met Mike. He was a great drummer, but he wasn't at the level that we needed him to be to perform in Malignancy. He swears then he wanted to write material immediately. And I'm like, bro, you can't even play the old stuff.
That's funny. He was literally just talking about this earlier.
Yeah. And the journey that he took and we watched, Ron and I, was just like, holy shit. I watched a guy that was green and just he attacked every drummer that did something he liked, and he wanted to know, how do you do that? What's up?
Yeah.
He was just a constant student, and then he went to school and learned more tricks and learned how to just get to the level that he's at now. That is just ridiculous, you know.
Mike, you just got your confirmation. Like, now we know you weren't bullshitting us earlier, because he said exactly the same thing that you just said.
I wasn't prepped either. I wasn't prepped.
Well, no, actually, I was giving Danny a play-by-play in text the entire time of everything that we were talking about.
Yeah,
so to make it seem like it's this,
dude. Alex is producing sideline. We don't even know, dude.
Well, listen, I did text him because, listen, truth be told, I was at the movies because I needed some me time because I haven't been to a movie in years, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And
what did you go see?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Dude,
I loved it. I'm a fucking nerd, so I don't care.
It's good.
No, dude,
I loved it. It was great.
Okay.
What
There's
you just
so
said
much
made,
retardedness
you spoke to me. You
So,
spoke to me. Because
you
now
know-
my I got a teenager now, so I'm like, hey, maybe it's cool enough to go see a Deadpool movie with.
There's a lot of sexual innuendos, a lot
fuck.
of cursing. It's a rated R movie. It's not really
I know.
intended.
What's the time? What's the age that you think that would be okay to take your old your older son.
How old is he?
He's 13. It will be 13 next month. So I'm like, fuck.
Listen, when I was 13, I already knew what porn was, and I was jerking.
I already did too, dude.
But
I know that.
it's different.
I
You
know that he already knows.
I was
dude.
watching South Park with my parents when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
my dad took me to see Terminator 2 when I was 8. And my
Mm,
sister was 4.
that's a good
But
one.
how much
Yeah.
how much sexual
But it wasn't as
innuendo
sexual.
is in
There's
yeah
a lot of gay stuff in there. A lot of
And
is it really?
and it's
Oh,
not
shit.
even. I shouldn't even say innuendo. It's just straight up in your face.
Yeah.
No nut sacks, no penises dangling, no nudity.
No, but there's just
None of that.
relationships and
It's really raunchy as hell.
So I guess the question is more, how cool of a dad are you?
yeah. I guess
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be the coolest dad ever. I'm gonna take him tomorrow.
Then
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, have a blast. Stay until the end credits because there's a funny scene at the end. There might be a second one, but I walked out. I was like, I'm tired. I got to take a piss.
I mean, side note, Marvel's always got the after the credits thing, right?
Yeah. And they didn't they didn't skimp on this one, that's for sure. Usually they do 2 because then they set you up for the next movie, but I don't think they did because their next movie isn't done yet. So
isn't it kind of cool for a studio that creates things to put that little Easter egg at the end to force them to make another one?
Yes,
it really
keep fucking fans engaged too. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work though, because there are a bunch of shows that have like season 3 ends on a big cliffhanger, but it wasn't renewed. So sucks for you.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes they live on in graphic novels and things like that, and then you can get your ending if you want, or you can just have a cliffhanger because fuck it. Why does everybody need the end?
We should have had Alex record like one note on bass, and that would be like hey, guess what? Next time.
That's dude. One thing I was just about to say was, what if death metal bands did that? The hidden track at the end, which is used to be a thing.
Yeah,
the hidden track where you got to wait 20 minutes for another 2 minutes of Sphalic Carnage or whatever.
Carnage is
if that,
and and that was literally a little taste of the next album, and I think that would be, but then you got to work even harder than we're already talking about.
Then you got to have at least another couple of songs for the next record to kind of give them a little taste of what might be the next album if you don't break up, because you know how that goes.
Well,
it's funny because that actually almost happened because I think Ronnie sent it to me. I don't remember if it was Ronnie or if it was you, Danny, but there was like an potential intro track for the album that one of you guys sent me to potentially record something over, but it ended up like not getting used. So that actually almost would have happened where I would have played something like on the intro of the album, and then that would have
been hilarious. But no, I just so you know, I fought against that intro, not because of you.
No,
I didn't do anything on it, so
that was Ron's acoustic intro, right?
It was something like that.
Yeah. He didn't like it either. He was like,
he didn't like it. So
he wrote that shit like years ago and was like, meh.
I don't think you'll ever beat the Inhuman acoustic intro.
No,
Which, by the way, if you remember the story I was telling about the good studio we recorded in, that is the only thing that survived. That acoustic intro from Inhuman Grotesquerie is the only thing that was recorded at the Carriage House Studio. Everything else was
wondering. I forgot. I remember we were there, and I was like, "What the fuck did we get out of that place?"
Nothing aside from that. Yeah,
gotta love it.
Unless you got one little thing, right?
That happened to us early on in '94. We went to go record our second demo. We went in with 3 songs and came out with 1 because these guys were not. Was he fucking sitting there with a bass in his lap the whole time? Jesus,
we already talked to him about it
for 3 hours.
Is that crazy bass that he bought that he's been having sex with? Of course it is.
Yeah,
he's in that same room that he records in, so he feels like he has to have a bass in his hand while he's sitting in that chair.
I hear you. But yeah, it was fucked up, man. The guys in the band were not, and it wasn't Mike, and it wasn't Ron either. It was the early incarnation of Malig, and we came out with Rotten Seed, and that was it. We fucking were supposed to do Rotten Seed, Atmosphere Decay, and I think Cerebral Tissue Extraction. We came out with one song, and both cars got towed that were there because they both parked in the fucked up spots. So our guitarist fucking dad had to come down and fucking pick us up and bring us and bail out the cars, and yeah, it was a shit show.
Oh,
Thank you, 1994.
They're way more gnarly with the traffic violations in New York than there are here, dude.
Who has the more expensive tickets, though?
Probably us. Well, we have like red light tickets now and speed trap tickets, and those if you speed in a school zone, it's $150.
Oh yeah, DC is like that too. It's
and that's it, $150.
And you can't use your horn in certain areas and
well,
shit.
thankfully, I moved to Texas because I mean, just drive by a school zone and fucking Yosemite Sam's shooting that window.
Yeah, right. They'll fucking pull you over and shake your hand.
Yeah.
Where's your open carry? And that's it. All right.
Where is it?
It's crazy.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Dude, well, dude, this is rad as shit, dude. I love you guys. I'm having such a great time, dude. Like, let's go into the album more. Okay.
I thought you could call that shit.
Was it you and Ron, Mike, that mainly wrote everything?
Yeah, all the music. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you guys come across Alex
Cohen?
Oh wait, you already probably talked about it. Vaughn was the reason, right? Is that?
Oh no, how we met this fool up here?
Yeah.
Just Alex.
Yeah. No. Danny would. Yeah. Go ahead.
That was Ron. That was all Ron.
Just passing the buck.
I guess he saw fucking Weber twiddle-deeing on his fucking bass. Oh, this guy's fucking great. Let me call him. And he I think he emailed him or messenger to some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And asked him, was like, hey dude, we need a bass player. You down for it? And according to Ron, he was like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I met Cohen before I met those guys, just being at like different shows in New York. And so I think it was meeting Cohen, and then Ronnie might have seen some of the videos that I made for the Defeated Sanity songs when I was playing with them for like half of that Dharmata tour. So it's probably both of them kind of simultaneously finding out somehow. But yeah, Ronnie was the one that ended up messaging me basically right around when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And you probably already said it on the show, but you were a fan of Malignancy before, or did you not know about their stuff?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely knew about the band. I hadn't gone through and like done a huge deep dive on their discography, but I absolutely knew about the band. And you know, both Defeated and Malignancy are, I think, some of the most unique death metal bands around because of the different types of musics that they're pulling from and just kind of the unique personality of both of those bands. So it was kind of an obvious yes for me when Ronnie hit me up about playing with that.
It is like I was attributing it to Odious again, but we're part of a scene, but we're trying to be the absolute differential of the scene. You know? Like you're still part of it, and you're still homies with everybody, and everybody's kind of incestual with members and all that stuff. But there's this one project where we're just saying, you know what? We've gotten everything we've gotten from death metal and this scene, but we still have these things that we want to do over here. Mm-hmm. And it might be weird as shit. It might be something that, you know, some people won't like, but we're still going to take these chances and make these unique things together. And
actually, have you guys ever talked to Jacob?
Jacob
Schmidt.
Was he on the Defeated?
Yeah.
You guys.
Oh
did?
yeah.
Jacob's been on a couple of times. Yeah.
Okay. Did
I
you talk
invited
to
him
him
to this
about
one,
this
too.
record?
He may have mentioned it, dude. We've done
Okay.
189
I don't-
episodes of this now.
I can't remember.
And
Yeah, they
Jacob's-
were on pretty recent, but it wasn't. Was it after the release or not? I'm not sure.
I think it was kind of recently, from what I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we did have a full-on Defeated.
he did talk about it.
Okay.
And he may have mentioned it, but dude, guys,
Gotcha.
I
Well-
love doing the show, but it's hard to keep track of what everybody says.
course.
I
Especially-
understand. Well, no. So the only reason I'm asking is because, you know, with Defeated Sanity, basically, Lilo writes everything,
Yeah,
right? And so Jacob is sort of like, not in a bad way, but he's fit in a box. Whereas opposed to with this, I was the one who was saying, like, just fucking go to town. Like, do you. The only thing I ever, I mean, a couple parts here and there I critiqued him on, and it was saying, like, you know, don't do the triplet thing over us playing 16th notes, because that drives me nuts. And it works in Defeated perfectly, but I can't stand it for us. But I was just kind of really curious, because he's like, right now, he's the link. I mean, it was always like Lila and I realized when we met in, like, I don't know, 2005 or something, that we're like way too similar in too many ways.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like
Debbie Downers for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, now Jacob, having played with both bands, I'd really be interested to understand, like, how he approaches things differently with the two bands, because, like I said, they're the two. Well, like Alex was just saying, they're two outlier bands in this technical death metal genre that sound not like each other, but also not like anything else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So he's now
the point.
Yeah.
I think that's the point with these bands. So we're, even though there's so many challenges and so many stretches that a lot of these bands make in this tech death realm, there's gonna eventually be these bands that say, hey, we're a part of this, but at the same time we want to be on the fringes of everything. And I think that the bands that we're mentioning right now are all on the fringes of this. If it's a bubble, these bands are right on the edge, touching other bubbles outside of this.
Are they
and
caressing
bringing it
the
and what?
They're caressing the bubble, right?
Yeah, they're caressing it. They're massaging it, dude. They're, you know, they're bringing in other parts of other bubbles that are touched right against it, and they don't even realize it. You know. And yeah, that's what Defeated Sanity, Malignancy, and I'm gonna say Odious Mortem, and like those. And I can say it because I'm just a vocalist in the band, and I watched these guys make these songs throughout the years. And no, it's not. I'm not super drunk. I'm still talking. If I was super drunk, I would be like, fucking Battle Forge Coffee, let's fucking do it, dude. Let's fucking wrap it up. But no, I think that we're kind of part of our own little bubble of those fringe bands from our scenes, and we should create a new bubble. If people don't even realize it, we're in this other bubble, international bubble that's happening, where we're the fringe bands of these little communities that we became part of. You know, and just shining as those bands. I love that, dude.
But I think, like, I don't know, like it seems to me like compared to, like, say, Canadian bands or even some European bands and stuff, but like a lot of American death metal bands historically, like, kind of have like they just have a sound, and they're different, but they're kind of in this, like, brutal and fast and whatever, a lot of double bass and certain, you know, that kind of stuff. And like, And there's bands that are more like crazy, like Deeds of Flesh and stuff like that. Where it's like, well, that those guys are crazy technical and all that, like back in the early '90s stuff, you know, or when they came out mid '90s, and like, but I feel like it was always cool, like bands, like it kind of reminded me more of the Canadian scene, where a band, even like Cryptopsy, or let's say like even like weirder bands, just no boundaries, just we're gonna be like as weird and crazy as we want, we don't give a fuck, like, and that's how like I always thought of like Malignancy and Defeated Sanity. But like as far as American bands, it was like, man, Malignancy just like super creative and original, but also just didn't give a fuck. Like it's just like,
never did.
You
We
know,
never cared
I think
to make anybody satisfied except ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, that was originally pre Mike and Weber over here. You know, Ron and Roger would just get stoned as fuck. We'd sit around for like an hour. They'd get fucking shit faced stoned, and then go down in the basement and just write the weird. But there was always homework. That was the thing. Ron would always have like a bunch of riffs in his pocket that he'd been working on like for the past couple of days, and Raj would always have a weird beat, and sometimes he'd even have a riff like, yo, check this out, what do you, and then we would just go off the rails and just be silly because it was fun, and we didn't want to sound like Cannibal, Suffocation, Deicide, all the main bands that were around at that time that basically cemented death metal as a scene. We don't want to sound like them because everybody else was trying to do that, and some succeeding, some going off on their own and doing different things, which was always great. But we just were like, fuck it. That's why we never had breakdowns that lasted long. We would give you like one and then run right back into a blast or something to fuck you up, because nobody was doing that. Everybody was like, yeah, we need to have it 4/4/4 and it's got to be this space, and we got to have a chorus and a verse and all that good shit. We didn't even care about songwriting. I mean, Desmond and Ron did go to music school and they knew music theory, and Desmond probably was more from that realm. But with Malignancy, we just threw his books out. We were like, nah, just whatever, dude. We're gonna do whatever. Who cares? Fuck that shit. And that's the way it just evolved into just after Intrauterine. We wrote Motivated, and we were like, yeah, fuck it. I mean, and I guess at that time we were trying to consider ourselves technical, even though we weren't really trying to go into that realm. And I don't even know if there were bands that were playing technical parts always. Like I always thought that Suffocation did a lot of crazy shit that nobody really did. And you know, they have their backgrounds from wherever they were pulling from, and we just wanted to keep pulling from wherever. And Ron will tell you, man, he fucking pulls from rock and roll bands that he grew up with, and you know, he brings that flavor, and you know, not so much jazz, because I don't think we were really doing that early on, although Motivated, the song, had a weird jazz moment that just doesn't make sense, and it's just chaos, and that's what we called it. Oh, that's the chaos part. And that was what the fun was, when we were just kids and doing whatever the fuck we wanted, and who the hell cared? You know, we didn't give a shit, because I knew, Ron knew, I think we all knew that we're not the next Cannibal, we're not the next Morbid Angel, we're not going to be fucking touring 6 to 8 months out of the year, having no lives, and becoming these great bands, because we missed the boat for some odd reason. We came out, things were going great for death metal, and then death metal went bye, because, you know, new shit came out and all the labels canceled and fucking deleted everybody, and was like, fuck that. Death metal's over in our eyes. You know, Roadrunner, Century Media, E-Ray, they all did it. They all like, fuck that. We got to hop on board to whatever is new and people want to hear. People really want to hear metal. But then there were the bands that were still going, and then brutal death metal happened, even though it's kind of a contradiction in terms, because death metal is brutal. It always has been brutal.
Yeah.
So
Always.
more brutal? Okay. So,
Ultra brutal.
Ultra brutal, man.
Well, it's kind of a blessing in disguise, because it taught everybody at that time in the timeline of death metal that you don't need a big brother. Just do what you're doing and keep pushing towards it, and you'll eventually get the fan base.
Well, and also the great labels too. you know, like Unique Leader and, you know,
Right.
the Guttural. They gave bands chances. And that's
Right.
also what was needed, because all the big labels crashed and burned and said, fuck everybody. And then we had this outcropping of these awesome little labels that did nothing but push the shit out of bands. And
Because
that
they knew that there was enough people out there that actually missed it and wanted it.
Exactly. And then now I'm starting to see it cycle through again, the generations. Man, I went to go see Violence and Exhorter a couple months ago, and dude, it was fucking nothing but youngins in the crowd, and I loved it because they were crazy and they were feasting on the music, giving it back to the musicians. Like, that's what we crave. You know, when we were all in an audience watching, we were fucking giving our energy to the musicians, and the musicians were just mainlining us, our energy, and just fucking, we're giving it right back. And that's why shows were amazing, because of that, the interaction between.
It is get hippy dippy. It's like a collective consciousness situation
It's a
where we get into this one space and everybody kind of catches that same wave together, you know.
It's a good
and
thing.
that's
Great thing.
That's what we're looking for. And when you feel like you're riding that wave and everybody's there with you, you're like, fuck yeah. And then that energy permeates to the live band. The live band feels you guys catching that wave. And it's like it folds into itself type deal and becomes this beautiful fucking pastry that everybody
beautiful
bakes that night.
Beautiful pastry.
Or it's a flower devolving or something.
Yeah, it literally is, dude. So, and then everybody's got dessert at the end, you know.
Shit, I wish they would give desserts at the end of the show. What the fuck?
But it is true, you know, that as a metaphor that works, because you feel at the end of those nights, you feel totally satisfied in what you experienced. Go for it.
No, I said except Mike. Because like, dude, it was a great show, but fuck.
We need to get Mike to start fucking loving his shit, dude.
I fucking missed it. Fuck, you know. All drummers are like that.
But those are, you also said, those little things are what make Mike keep moving. It makes Mike put fucking 50 grand into a fucking recording studio so he could do it at home, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like drummers, like, I was gonna make a joke about bass players, but it's not even about that. It's about like the thing is, here's the thing. It's just a joke. I mean, obviously, the point is, I feel like with drums, like I always kind of felt kind of naked, like up there, because it was like I felt like every single hit people could hear and could like. Whereas like you're on bass or your guitar and you like kind of flub apart, it just sounds like a weird harmony. Or if you got two guitars,
bass, because sound engineers just bury us all the time anyway. So there's so many gigs where I'm playing whatever the fuck I want, and nobody's gonna hear it.
You know, that's why the that tour we did in Canada right before I joined Fear Factory, where Roger couldn't make it over the border, was my favorite Malignancy tour ever, because I didn't have a bass player to deal with. So it was like people could actually make out what was going on instead of the muddy low end crap just building up, you know. Thanks, Alex. But
you've already told that to my face before, so it's not anything new. Anyway.
Yeah, it's important.
But I will say that's also important is what I've learned in my later years is the rhythm section. The drummer and the bass player are very, very important. So when you have one element missing, is it really like got the same livelihood?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, so that's the thing.
I think it has more livelihood.
That's the thing about Alex, I think, because I think while every bass player we've had since I've been in the band has been awesome, I think Alex is the one that is the most tuned into what I'm doing, to where we actually end up feeling like a rhythm section sometimes, as opposed to it's another guy who's playing like another solo at the same time as my solo at the same time as Ronnie's solo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for whatever that's worth, but I don't like how I kind of gave him a compliment. So fuck you, Alex.
I just was zoning out while you were talking, ignoring you. So I just didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
that all the time.
Which is just a fuck you right back. That's
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Appropriate.
But yeah, I just like with the way that the Malignancy music is that I actually can kind of act as a bass player, where me and Ronnie are kind of playing different parts a lot of times, where I'm not just like big guitar, you know, where I'm just like following the riff at like half speed or just playing something that is exactly what the guitar part's doing. Like it's almost like me, Mike, and Ronnie are all like playing 3 different parts at the same time in a way, you know.
And you know, I'll tell you, I love bass players on stage for me because I get to goof on them the whole time.
You have a foil.
Yeah, I always, every bass player we've always had, I enjoy looking over and I just fucking start fucking with them, doing whatever. You know, I can't do that with Ron because now Ron's got his fucking wireless shit and he's jumping around like Angus Young and he's fucking hitting me with shit. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? I can't. If I go up to him and try to fuck with him, I might get hit with a headstock. I don't know. At least Rebs is just like, he's fucking doing his thing and he looks over and he's like, he's aware. Ron is in his other, he's in his little fucking space and kicking ass and trying to kick my ass too. So.
Dude, hearing that and then hearing all the references to him dancing around, we gotta watch some Malignancy live, guys.
Oh, dude, Ronnie's got a very unique stage presence.
Yes,
he does. I haven't seen a stage presence with Pyrexia yet, because I think the one show that he got to play, the earlier shows that he played, like he had no room because it was a small space. But I haven't even seen them. I've been trying to do it, but
he cut out on us before we can dig on the Pyrexia stuff.
Sleepy.
But
yeah, he gets. I think he's at work. He starts at 7, you know, and he's out, you know, and he stays up late, but he usually. Sorry.
No, that's all good. I mean, I'm glad we got the time that we had with him, but I wanted to ask him, you know, what his position in Pyrexia was and playing those earlier sermon songs when they go out and play live. And
I'll tell you, he told me, he said, holy shit, I haven't played like that in a long time. And he had to get himself in shape. He said that fucking picking is so fast. He's like, it fucking hurts. And he had to get himself in shape to do that because he wasn't used to, we've never played like that. I mean, kind of some earlier stuff, but not like that. And he's having a great time. I mean, he basically joined Pyrexia because Malig we're not really a touring band, so to speak, at the moment, because I have a lot of issues with touring. I can't do it as much as I'd like to. I'm not a Blake, I'm not a Weber, I'm not a Cohen, I'm not a Ronzoni. I can't do it. You know, for me, it's very difficult, and money is real tight, and touring fucking sucks. I feel like it just takes it takes.
If you took money out of the situation, we would have a different opinion.
No,
because
not really.
not
my opinion. Because guess what? I've had the same girlfriend for 32 fucking years, and that is this band. And this bitch has never given me a fucking vacation. So I need a vacation.
She's never giving you anal at all, dude.
Well, no, that either. She doesn't bend over, and you know, I don't want to.
He bends you over.
I don't want to touch with anybody. But you know, it's tough. And Ron really, he's such a he's such a musician. He loves music so much, and he just wants to do it all the time. And throughout his whole stint with Malig, not that it's a stint, it's fucking his life. He's always been in another band, and that's been his outlet. You know, he's always had like a thrashy band or a rock, teetering on metal band. He's always done something a little different just to get those other demons exercised, that he couldn't exercise.
Yeah, actually, I miss seeing fucking Dirty Brown Eye or Primer Black or whatever.
I agree.
You know?
Because it was always fun, man. And those guys
always
play
so much fun.
vocal, and they play in the city. Sometimes they go off and do their own thing, and we have, Malig would just have, a weekend off or something, and those guys would do some great shit, and we go and support them because that's what we do. I mean, we support Ron and all his endeavors because I just want to see him succeed more than anybody, and Mike succeeded, Weber succeeded, all these guys. I'm surrounded by super talent, and I'm the one that is the least talented because I would rather sing like a singer, like you were saying earlier, Anthony. Like I would rather be like, a real vocalist. And
Right.
me, I'm only that when I'm drinking in a backyard, fucking screaming, oh, which can sound good to some, and it might kill your cat. I don't know.
No, I feel you, dude. I feel that there's as a frontman of a band, there is that element of me that respects those types of vocalists and wish I could do it as well. Yeah, man. But this is in our tool bag. This is what we got.
Oh yeah.
And it's our way to express, however we can, at what time in our lives we can.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use the tools in our bag to express. And I'm glad that you did it because I was praising the new Malignancy album.
Thank you, man.
As some of the best Danny work. Outside of everybody else on the album, you guys all killed it.
Yeah, man, I'm happy that we all shined,
Yeah, you guys all definitely did that. And I felt it as a listener and also a fan of Malignancy for several years. It made me excited to just know that there's another band out there that's been out there longer than I have, that is still excited about what they're doing, and it shows in the music.
Yeah. No, we got to start writing a new one. Weber, Mike. We should already have 4 songs. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. Give us a weekend. We'll do it.
Yeah, we go down to your new place, Mike.
Yeah, right.
Is it done?
No.
Oh, okay.
We talked about that earlier. It's a hot topic. Kneecaps are going to get broken.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
The Central State. What is it? I keep.
Yeah, Ronnie's death metal gang is going to have to go down to Texas and break.
Metal gang. Did Ronnie ever show you any of his old pictures with the fucking like the bangs and everything?
Oh,
dude would never say death metal.
You don't fuck with guys with bangs, man. Dude.
Yeah.
Look at Bruce Dickinson. You don't fuck with him.
Yeah,
you don't. If they cut bangs into their face, dude, you don't fuck with that guy.
Nah, because they got balls.
It's
steel.
It is. There's a purpose for it, dude.
Yes, it's to instill fear in others.
That's what bangs are for.
Yeah, except for when Betty Page did it. When she did it, it was fucking hot. But nobody else thinks Betty Page is hot. All right, well,
I don't even know who
now, but that's okay.
Yeah, Alex is too young for what Betty Page is all about.
Yeah,
look up
how
some
stupid is that?
Betty Page. She.
Shout out to my brother in the chat. He's telling me to fix my headphones. No, dude, they stay like this until
like alien antennae.
I thought that was purposeful.
Yeah, I broke them. I broke them on a previous episode. I stepped right on them to go take a pee, and
fucking
ever since then, I said I rocked them. This is actually a piece of tape that I put here. Before I would just like put them on as 2 separate units. I would just work it in
like a moon unit,
fit with my head, like a moon unit Zappa, and then I just got some electrical tape.
Hey, man.
Yeah, they're $20 headphones, and I could replace them, but I think I'm just
change the shape of your head to match the headphones.
Yes, you should.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
like the foot binding shit. I should just like bind my head.
Yes, I love it. I approve.
Just like tie a big old boulder on the side of my head, just constantly underneath my chin every day until it puts a concave into my skull.
Oh my god!
See, you need a gimmick, and that's your gimmick. Everybody
Dude.
will be watching the Cali Death Podcast.
What if it puts pressure on like the philosophical side, and then this whole show turns into like me trying to Nietzsche everybody?
There's
I
only
thought you
one
had
way to
been this
find
whole
out.
time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, dude, this was rad as fuck, dude. I'm super happy that we did this. I love doing the show every fucking Thursday, and I get to hang out with such cool dudes like you guys, dude. It's just
thanks,
like,
dude.
I'm so
Only Mike.
I'm super.
What,
I
too
feel blessed in the sense that I get to just talk to all these cool dudes every week, dude. And yeah, here's another one in the books.
It's a labor of love, dude. You know, you do this, you do music. It's just it's in you.
I mean, yeah, that we were talking about earlier. I could talk metal all fucking day, and this is what we used to do as kids.
Yep.
We get together and just fucking rap about music the whole fucking time, and we're doing it again, dude. And yeah, I love that I get to do this internationally, or not international on this show, but either way, we're across the fucking country right now.
Real quick announcement, Mike. Ian is saying next time he sees you, he's going to bring the peanut butter.
What does that mean, dude?
I don't know. That's between them two.
I want to know
I
now.
kind of want to leave it open-ended so you get to wonder about that.
We'll talk about it post-pod.
Yeah.
No, let's tell everybody.
That's like the Deadpool trailer. You know, you just got to wait for the next one to find
Yeah.
out.
Wait for the next one.
It's going to be real open-ended.
Okay. if you want the answer, it's
spoiler alert. Pause the video now if you don't want to know the answer.
Yeah. I was just on tour with Fear Factory, hankering for some peanut butter cup ice cream, and he brought it to me because he is the man.
Ben and Jerry's was the Ben and
beautiful
Jerry's
story.
Yes,
Jerry's,
dude.
right?
Got the full-on buttercup in there.
I mean, who else but Ian McDonald would do that for some guy on the
That's
road?
a fucking man, dude.
Right?
That is a man right there.
Yeah,
dude.
Bringing ice
Ian's
cream
the
to
shit,
us,
dude. He's with
brother.
us almost every single week, and he's got his own show on
Ian rips.
Sick Drummer Magazine, and he talks to the sickest drummers, dude. He's all about the drumming, which, I'm all about the drumming too. So it's perfect to nerd out on the drummer aspect of this genre.
Awesome.
He says he loves us all. Which one do you love the most, Ian?
Yeah. Rank us now.
You have to pick one that you love.
peanut butter cup boy.
Doesn't have to be a drummer.
It's gonna be Alex.
Shit.
Yes, it is Ian.
I'm the closest to a drummer here.
I'm not Ian.
Wait, that's my sister-in-law. Are you Ian?
Whoever has the longest bangs.
Well, who's the fucking comedian who said that? Are you Ian? No, I'm Pablo Francisco. He's at a club, and are you Ian? No, I'm Pablo, because she's asking if he's eating, like sorry, for the young cats, that's Molly.
Oh, eating. I thought
So
you said
where-
eating. I was like, eating what?
Where are you seeing all of this? Like, what are you talking about?
you're
It's
not
the
seeing
chat.
It's
Where
when
you
they-
at? Mike's been out of the chat this
You're
whole
not
time.
seeing this right here, buddy.
Yeah, I love the adorable one that just popped up.
You see that?
Are you using your phone, Mike?
Oh, yeah, it's my phone.
The adorable
Okay,
one is
it's
definitely
tiny.
Alex with
It's
that
like-
goatee.
You need a magnifying glass to like see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that big on my screen, so I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you can't read that from 4 feet away. Just joking.
All right. Let's
All right,
wrap it
well,
up, guys. This is
yeah.
super rad, dude.
Yeah, dudes.
Go listen to the new Malignancy if you haven't heard it. What date did it come out?
Discontinued.
It just came out. Like,
Came
It's
out
been
last month.
discontinued already.
a month
Yeah,
ago.
exactly. Nobody cares anymore. It's
Already
great.
discontinued. Oh man,
It was like the
Already
end of
discontinued.
June or something.
June. Okay, what is it?
Yeah.
July.
Yeah, it came out June 14th.
Ah, so just over a month.
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I still
It's
like
definitely
it. So,
more than pretty good. It's
Yeah.
something that made me very excited when I listened to it, because I love very unique technical music, and
Very
this is
good.
what it delivered exactly what I wanted to be listening to.
I said, it was hyped up when it came out, like before you came on, Danny, and it was like for sure the talk of the town on my Facebook for how many days. It was just malignancy. Like people just like, check this shit out. It's like when a movie comes out, everyone's like, ridiculous. But I was like,
why don't you put up the new
see this?
chat? Put up the new chat comment right now for you.
What? I don't know.
Do it. The newest one.
No.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
You got sick biceps, dude.
I don't even have any biceps. I work on computers, and I'm a flabby nerd.
No, dude, you fucking blast, and that's all in the biceps, dude. No, it's actually all in your wrists.
No, I have nothing.
It's triceps. Actually.
He's got see, this guy got muscles. Anthony, you got more muscles. Working on them wheels,
dude. I'll fucking come on now. I'll fucking throw him out there. You want to fucking go?
He's ready. All
right. Now you know it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
It is, dude.
It's that super drunk alert again.
Is it? I'm.
Do you guys see long legs?
Can you make a new one that says Anthony perfectly a drunk alert?
I want to see long legs.
He can't even
perfectly a drunk alert.
He couldn't even speak the alert that he was requesting.
Okay, it's definitely super drunk alert. All right,
drunk alert. I can't even mimic it.
I love you guys. I love everything about this. I love everything about this moment.
I like you too.
Wood paneling.
Yeah. Thank you.
Casey will only tell you he loves you in text. All right. No, I love this very much, dude. You guys are super awesome. Mike, Danny, I wish I had you longer tonight, bro.
I'm sorry, I had prior.
We're gonna have to give you a little grill action. You should have been here earlier.
But I was on there last time by myself.
Yeah, so I know.
Give these guys a chance to talk shit and have a good time, and
And we were saving the best for last.
Yeah. You enhanced it when you came on, dude. I'm just giving you a little fucking side jab.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Anthony's just ruining it all.
Alcoholics, they'll find out.
Just drunk enough alert.
We're now doing a therapy session.
Listen, I had one beer left, and I came home and I had to drink it.
Nice. That was Sierra Nevada made all the way out to fucking New York, bro.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I love it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Actually, dude. I'm working on wait. Ooh, Sierra Nevada as well, dude. Sierra Nevada.
Cosmic little thing. I haven't tried that one yet.
I don't know if it makes it out to you. Go for it.
Oh, I've seen them. 8%. Oh boy, that's a one and done, or one and then start regulars.
I'm 3 and done tonight.
All right.
No, I love you guys. This was great. Battleforgecoffee.com. Buy their coffee. January Rehearsal Studios. Go jam there. Playing in Texas, end of September with Severed Savior. And we didn't give any professor plugs. Professor's in London with TVV right now. Did we say that?
You did, sort of.
Oh, okay.
I think in the beginning.
3.5 hours ago we mentioned it, but yeah. So.
All right, they're playing a festival, and if you're in London and you want to see Disgorge, boom, that's the way you do it. And then Parasitic Septicity is the newest Professor album, and Malignancy is the newest Discontinued is the album you want to go listen to. Real quick, tell everybody where to go for merch and all the fun stuff Malignancy related.
Right now, willowtip.com for sure. They got everything. They have t-shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, CDs, vinyl, cassettes until everything sells out, and then they'll make more. And then for us, you can go to our Bandcamp page. We got a couple things available, but not much now because everything is just saved for live shows, but we will be stocking everything soon. And then just do a search, a Google search, because we have licensed products out that, people, they might have a patch, Right. Oh, we also have Here Tees, which is our Euro contact out of Poland, and they do our T-shirts and some baseball hats, things like that. So at least there's a presence in Europe, and also with Fudge. Season of Mist, they do print on demand shirts. So
cool.
If there's something you like, just hit them up. And if you're they're based out of France and America, so they do both. So hit them up.
Mm-hmm.
All of that plus, I already said it, but just go listen to that new album, guys. It's definitely a treat. You're into unique tech death in the human sounding vein. Boom.
All right.
Go get it. All right. Love you guys, Mike, Danny, Alex, and
Here's
shout out to Ron. He took off earlier. Love you guys, Casey. Love you. What? He passed out. I almost said passed out, dude. Come on, guys.
He did pass out.
It's the end of it, and I'm 3 beers deep. I've been using a lot of cannabis the whole time. Come on.
I can tell. It's all right.
Hey, I still
You're
got
holding it together, man.
I'm still at the helm, dude. I'm still holding this ship. We're in some choppy water.
He shouldn't be driving, but he is.
Yeah. Right into that iceberg.
Somehow.
Hasn't crashed and burned yet.
No.
Rock on to everybody who's listening to us, Twitch and YouTube, and
here's everyone.
Go watch it on YouTube if you're listening to it now and you want to see us be dorks on camera. And we'll see you next week. Rock on. Have a great weekend.
See ya.
Later, Mike.